Okay.
Hello and welcome to the podcast.
More like party. Goodness.
It's Memorial Day, baby. What are you talking about?
It is. It is Memorial Day.
This is the most American thing I could find.
It's American.
So I put it on. And it's a
like
hat.
it.
So I'm required to wear a new hat. I have not worn this one before.
How did you throw me off on this one? Man,
I've
you
been
messed
waiting.
me up.
I've been waiting. So I've got my American flag marlin fishing hat.
Yep.
I've got my Navy Marine Corps
Amen.
football jersey on, and I have stand by.
Uh-oh.
These are
Watch it. Oh.
vintage 2000
Really?
boot camp sweatpants. This is my PT gear from boot camp.
How do they not have holes in them already?
Well, I quit wearing them a long time ago because I don't know that I can replace them.
Yeah.
So they have a special place that they live.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love them. They are still super comfortable. They make me a little terrified when I wear them. And remind me of some bad winter mornings in Washington State of some early morning PT sessions at about 5 a.m. and snow and rain and stuff. But hey, America, baby.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
Somebody's got to do it.
Well, who are you? These people don't even know who's talking.
Oh, I forgot. We were doing a podcast. So I'm Travis,
And
a.k.a.
I'm Mitch.
Mr. America.
Oh, we messed it up again.
Oh,
And I'm Mitch.
what's up,
So
bud?
if you happen to stumble upon this episode, random, what are we, 18? Episode 18? Yep,
18.
episode 18.
Yeah, welcome into the
uh,
Off the Rails podcast. This is Memorial Day for us. I know it's not Memorial Day as you're listening. We understand. There's a delay. But we're not going to let it pass by without saying something. I mean,
Exactly.
it is what it is.
Our shop, I told Joel the other day, I said, there's 3 days we won't work. Memorial Day, Easter, and Christmas. This shop does not operate. I said, now you guys can come in and build a birdhouse, but you won't be on my clock.
Right.
You're not banned, but you won't come in and work on those days because we had church service today. It's Sunday, the day before the actual Memorial Day, but we had a service today. It was really good service, man. And I just feel like I've never been, in the armed forces, never been in the military, but I feel like we focus on the wrong things on Memorial Day.
We do.
There's a considerate portion of the country that does. I mean, especially down here where we live, it's a pretty big deal. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about it. But, it gets kind of hung up in, let's go boating, let's just go out, it's a day to eat, it's a day, whatever. And you celebrate however you want to celebrate. But, like, there was a guy in our church, his name's Ed. He was in the 173rd Airborne Division, and he was in Vietnam.
Okay.
And out of I have no idea, I don't know if it was a battalion or the group, some kind of big group with a lot of people in it. He lost like 300 and something people in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And, that's just out of one group. And he was airborne. So he was parachuting in, and them jokers were shooting at him, when they were coming in, and it was crazy. But
could you imagine being suspended in the air? There's nothing you can do except for just hope that they don't hit you. I mean, that's as close to being a duck as you can be in Louisiana. Like, I mean,
exactly. Yep. So
at least they can change their direction. You're just there.
Yeah. And he didn't make, he's not one. I've known him for a while now and had no idea he was in Vietnam. He's not one of these that touts it or whatever, but the preacher did. He did talk to him a little bit. But anyway, we just wanted to kind of take a minute as we started and just, kind of pay homage, I think, to the men and women of this country who have lost their lives. So you and I have the freedom to sit here and talk about whatever we want to talk about, including kings, queens, presidents, politics, guns. We can do whatever we want to do on this podcast because, and obviously Travis didn't die, but he signed up in case that was an option. I've got a lot of friends that were military, but not everybody came back. I know you knew you had a friend, I think, over there that lost his life.
We'll talk about him a little bit if I can.
It's absolutely. So
I don't talk about him a lot, but it's one of those things. But also the hard part is, and as a veteran, like I feel like it does. I think you're right. I think a lot of people do lose focus. For one, don't tell me Happy Memorial Day. Don't tell any veteran Happy Memorial Day. It's not a happy day for us. It is a day of remembrance, and it is a day that we do reach deep into the respect pocket, and remember people. But it is a somber day. But at the same time, those people who died, they died, like Mitch said, to give us the ability to do the other things. So enjoy the cookout, enjoy the boating, enjoy that, but just in that enjoyment, remember the people who sacrificed and allowed you to have that enjoyment. Like I don't think that anybody who sacrificed for their country, because when you sign up for that, you understand what the risks are, and you sign up with it knowing that you're trying to put your life on the line so that others don't. And so that America can continue to be the America that it is. There was actually, I screenshotted it today as I was kind of like cruising Facebook, and I thought it was one of the really good things that I've ever heard. And I don't know who this is, Sean Ryan. He's got a blue check mark, so he must be famous or, paid for a check mark. Sean Ryan, 762, so I'll give credit to what he said. But he said, as we approach Memorial Day weekend, a lot of Americans want to know the right way to honor the men and women who have died fighting for our country, for our well-being and for our freedoms. He says it all comes down to one thing. When you go to bed at night, ask yourself this one question: was I an American that was worth dying for today? I think that's a pretty legit thing to ask yourself today, on a day like Memorial Day, is, did you do things that were worthy of, somebody, paying that ultimate sacrifice? Are you being a good American? And, we all are going to have different opinions on what being a good American is. I would say most of it just involves just being a participant, for one, being knowledgeable about what's going on and going to the polls. Those are like the two. Whoever you vote for, I could really care less. My big thing is that you at least go vote. Don't sit back and, in these elections, don't sit back and ride the pine and then just complain. You have a voice, go use it,
Yeah, and go, absolutely. But know why you're voting for who you're voting for.
Right.
You know, grandmamas, just because your grandmama did it, your daddy did it, your brother does it. We know a couple of couples that one votes Democrat, one votes Republican.
Yeah.
They're in the same house. I mean, it's all about your back.
I can't imagine how that relationship works, but I really can't.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. But
that's pretty deep. Be something, contribute to society where when these guys, these men and women are over there, you're one of the people they're thinking about. You're the average American that they're thinking about.
Yeah, and those Vietnam guys, I know some guys that have done some stuff, and I know some guys who, have some stories to tell, trust me. But that Vietnam, man, we learned so much from that war, and that was kind of the last war that we started, that we even fought the way that we did, as far as kind of like just sending, all right, here we are, and you do your year and we just send another guy to replace you. You do your year, versus now where we send units and you go and come with your units. Like, we learned a lot from that. Just those guys, man, not to mention all the political stuff that went with it as well, pressure when you came home, but just there's a lot of heroes out there, and there's a lot of heroes that their story doesn't get told very well. And so I'll try to tell you about one of my heroes, and it's hard. I don't know, I don't talk about him a lot because he was a good friend of mine. But so when I was stationed in Washington, you went through it was called orientation, so it was several weeks of orientation. And this guy got put with us. His name was Daniel Amaya. Amaya was from Texas, Odessa, Texas. It almost slipped my mind. I know exactly where he's from. He was from Odessa, Texas, and he was just a bigger than life guy. Like he loved to have fun. He was a single guy. Wanted nothing more than like a relationship and have a woman, like, but he just never could find that right woman. But just a jokester, had a lot of fun. But when we were in orientation, we would play. We didn't have any money, and we weren't really allowed to go anywhere. And at this point in time, nobody really had any cars yet, because we had just all gotten out of school status, and you're not allowed to have vehicles when you're at school status. Mm-hmm. So you kind of leave school and then you go to your first station. So nobody really had cars, so we didn't have a lot of transportation. But we would get together at night and we would play poker, especially on the weekends. But we're broke Marines, so we just played kind of like penny poker, penny, nickel, dimes. And I'll never forget, we all lived in the same building except for Amaya. He lived in the building across from us, like a little courtyard. And every night that he would win, you could hear him with his change jar, like a mason jar. You could hear him like a maraca shaking that change all the way home, just as an insult, how much, about how well he did that weekend, where he took all our quarters. But he was just a super dude. He actually was with a unit. They were going to Okinawa. He wanted to open a business, and so he was supposed to be getting out. He found out his unit was going to Okinawa, Japan, so he extended because Okinawa was I think it still is, I'm not sure, but it was a tax-free zone. Mm. So he's like, oh, well, this will give me more savings. Anyway, long story short, they were actually rerouted in flight to Okinawa to Iraq. Oh. Yeah. So we were in Iraq at the same time, different units. Okay. So we were together in Washington State. We both ended up in California, but we were in different units at this point in time. So we'd kind of lost base. I have another good friend that was in the same unit as him though, that I still talk to, and keep up with. But, so anyway, so at this time, Amaya was a corporal, which is an NCO. So that's kind of like your first leadership position. He was a fire team leader. So it was April 11th of 2004. And it was Easter Sunday, actually. So Memorial Day and Easter will always be changed for me, because it was actually Easter Sunday when he was killed. But again, it was 2004. Technology still kind of has not hit the military a lot. And we didn't have a whole lot of flashlights. Actually, weapon mounted lights were not really a thing, but they were starting to be. So he was a team leader. They were taking shots from a building, and they decided that they were going to assault the building. They didn't have any big guns at the time to help them. So they decided to do an assault on the building. If I remember right, from what I've been told, it was kind of getting dusky, darky. And knew inside probably didn't have any power, so he volunteered to take point, which would be the first man in, because he had a weapons mounted light. Essentially, as they made entry, he was shot. The story that was relayed to me was that he was shot so bad that it was pretty much not much to be able to tell who he was other than dog tag on a boot. So they went through, they assaulted the building, and basically found that the Iraqi who was shooting at him was in a tunnel system that was completely annihilated very, very shortly after, with some big guns and some big old machinery dropped on top of it. So I don't think that guy survived, and I don't think that he lived to hurt another American that day, but Dan Amaya saved a lot of people, by being first, by being just a good Marine. He again, I just can't say how much bigger than life than he was. He was, just a lot of fun. I'll never forget this. We were at, the University of Washington one night, and, we were kind of partying and kind of hanging out, and this girl was kind of thought he was cute, and he thought any girl that would talk to him was cute. So, so we were drinking, and she was, do you think I'm a sweet girl? And he's like, oh, sure. She's got this Georgia accent, and he's kind of got this Texas accent, right? And she's like, will you call me a Georgia peach? And he's like, I'll call you anything you want to, baby. He's like, you my Georgia peach. And she'd be like, well, if you really like me, let me see how many push-ups you could do. And he got down on the floor, and he just started hammering out push-ups. He's like, whatever it took to impress this girl, But I mean, he just was careless, just carefree, not careless, but carefree, and just really liked to have a good time. He's just one of those, for me, that's the Memorial Day. There's a couple other guys that I knew that didn't make it, but not that I knew to the degree that I knew Amaya. Like,
right.
He was just, he was a true friend and a close friend that I'd spent a lot of time with. And my wife, he like would come over, like after we got married, he would come over and hang out. I've got a picture of us at like Thanksgiving, and he's there with me and another good friend of mine who had gotten married pretty close to me. And then there's Amaya. Like, he'd come over to the apartment, to have Thanksgiving. He was a pretty big fixture in our lives at that point in time. And then, for him to lose his life the way he did. But yeah, on that Easter Sunday, I got the call. I think my wife saw it on the news. I think she found out before I did. And I actually ran into a mutual friend of ours. We finally crossed paths because I was convoying a bunch in Iraq. I wasn't at a base. I just did convoys and was moving stuff. And we crossed paths, and he told me, he's like, did you hear? And I was like, no, man, I didn't hear. And he was there and told me about it. And he actually, a good friend of mine, he has a almost got me day. He actually took an AK round through the thigh. And how it didn't kill him and hit a major artery in the thigh, I don't know, but we get to celebrate his almost got me day every year. And so, I think it's the dark humor of, the first responder, the military guy, that just, yeah, I'll give you the bird finger. You didn't get me,
Yep.
You almost did,
yeah. They got their shot off, but.
Yeah, but to the Amaya family, I don't know his parents. I remember him talking about his mom a good bit. I honestly, at this point in time, I can't remember if his parents were still together or not. I honestly can't remember, but I never got to meet them. And the odds of them finding this podcast and hearing me say this are slim to none. But the Amaya family will always rest heavy in our hearts. I can't hear the national anthem without thinking of Amaya for some reason. Like, we're at a football game. He is the first person that I think of when I hear the national anthem. Always has been since then. It's I don't know. I'm kind of just at a hard point to continue on, but
yeah. Well, I'll say this, and a lot of us we know the older generations. World War II, not so much. There's not a lot of those guys left. But, Vietnam, a lot of those guys are still around. But it seems to me that, when our generation signed up right out of high school, because obviously September, I graduated in 01. So right. September 11th was after I graduated. And people like you and Amaya, I'm assuming he was probably around, he joined probably the same time you did, which was before.
Right. We were very close in our joint dates.
So part of that generation that signed up without there being.
He was a West Coast Marine. And for anybody that knows, we called them Hollywood Marines. Because he was from west of the Mississippi. So he didn't go to the real hard boot camp that the rest of us went to, with the sand fleas and all. They could see the Hollywood sign from where they went to boot camp. I'm just saying, so.
But there's something to be said, though, about the newer generations, signing up. Because now, man, if you look, there it's just, people are constantly telling you to be lazy. Just sit at home and wait for it.
Our numbers are way down. It's hard to get people to join,
Yeah. And I think that's a collective mindset of the younger guys now, and they're just like, I don't know what the reasons are or whatever, but, and then to find out some of the guys like Michael, a friend of ours, that he signed up, and then right after that, man, September 11th happened, and he was like, okay, here we go,
I remember when September 11th happened, I was like, I don't know that I signed up for this. Like, it was weird. When I signed up, it was this weird thing because, I was not great with authority and, didn't have a whole lot of direction of where I was going to go. And then I had several people tell me that I couldn't do it. I wouldn't make it. I had too big of a mouth and, just wouldn't make it. So I kind of more so joined just to prove that I could.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually kind of didn't really think about the 4-year commitment afterwards. I was really just like trying to prove to everybody that I could make it through boot camp and just do it.
Right.
So like I hear people all the time, they're like, well, I joined for the college money. I definitely didn't join for the college money. I did not want anything else to do with school. Like, that was the last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
And then, so it's a really, like, people ask, why did you join? I'm like, I really don't have a good answer. Like, I really don't. I didn't aspire my entire life to be in the military. But I remember when September 11th happened, I was like, is this what I signed up for? And, we didn't really know what was happening. We were in a fighting position. I'm on a nuclear base. we're moving nukes around. Submarines are coming in and out. Like, and I'm like, actually, I think I'm down with this. Like, as the night went through, I was like, bring it on, fly over here. Like, it just kind of, as the night went through, like, 'cause I just never imagined like that we were going to have a war. Like, because it'd been so long since we'd had a war. We hadn't had a war since Desert Storm.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't a thing of our generation to think about war. So, but as the night went through, and then as the next day went through, as we're still in the same fighting hole, locked down because the country still didn't know what was going on, it was like, oh yeah, like, I'm down with this. Like, I'm good. And then when I got restationed, and that, I was in this weird loophole of you're going, you're not going, as far as being deployed to Iraq, because my contract date, they would say, well, we're going to extend people. And then things would change in Iraq. Like, all right, we don't feel the need to extend people anymore. And it'd be like, oh, you're going, but you're going to come back on time. Like, it went through this whole thing. I was like, all right, I need to know. Like, I ended up having to like kind of get involved. Like, I just need to know because I have a family. Like, I have a wife and a kid. Like, I can't just go and then be dropped back to the United States and be kicked out. Like, I need to line something up. Like, just tell me what we're doing, and, finally got all those answers, and I was able to come back, about a week, maybe 2 weeks, I think, before I actually got out to start lining up some things. 'Cause it's really hard. There wasn't a lot of technology then to be calling around, the world or anything,
all these online job applications and stuff.
We're talking about 2004, technology has really changed a lot since, in 20 years. It really has. Oh my God, 20 years.
Crazy, ain't it?
I just felt instantly old, but the kids who joined after September 11th, man, like you knew, you're like, oh, this is why, and the numbers just went through the roof. The love for America was shown. Like, hey, this is my calling. Like, I feel the calling. I feel the need, to be there to support the country. I'm in, and the number of people who didn't get out, like the retention was just through the roof. I would have stayed. I wanted to stay in, except for, I didn't want to stay in 29 Palms. I'm not gonna lie. I did not want to stay in California. That is the armpit of America. And they were like, if you re-enlist, this is where you're staying. And basically my wife said, if you re-enlist, we're leaving you. I'm not staying there she's like, I've stuck it out. I've been here for a year and a half. Like, I don't want nothing else to do with this place. Like, she's like, I can't do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it. Like, so, we got out and went home, but it's weird when you look at the generations, you know, and now right now, you know, I mean, especially after some of the politics with COVID and all, like people are just not wanting to sign up. I mean, our numbers are at an all-time low at a point where, I hate to admit it, we need them at an all-time high. I mean,
yeah.
Globally, we got some stuff going on that we need to look strong, you know, and I'm like, hey, I mean, I'll put it back on. I'm not going to take all the crap that I took, you know, as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old. I'll put a uniform back on and I'll shoot a gun at somebody if you need me to. I don't
just
care.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach. But hey, some of that bullshit about yelling at me and all that stuff. Like, just give me clear, concise directions and I'll take care of it. You know, but I don't need vocal motivation to get the job done. You know,
I'm 40. Give me a gun and let me go.
Just give me a sector to watch.
Yeah.
Bring me some food and water every so often. Like I got this cordoned off. No big deal.
Well, that was basically what we wanted to do. We did want to take a minute. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, man, they only get one day a year. At least we could do is spend a little time on the podcast, you know, and just remember them guys. And now it's actually good that it's going to be out a little bit later, because you guys listening to this now, you forgot all about Memorial Day already.
Yeah, it'll give you a good reminder.
Yep, you weren't thinking about it this morning when you got up and said, "Oh man, look at there, Off the Rails downloaded." So there you go.
The hat was hot. I had to ditch it. Sorry.
It was a little distracting.
Well,
but not too bad.
Right.
Like I could have made it.
The kids were like, "You're really doing?" I was like, "Oh, on the countdown. I'm putting it on." The whole time that we were working on the other project before, it was laying right here in the ready. Like it was, I had it.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, let me take care of this admin real quick. All right, there we go. So,
well, but yeah, for all those and for the family members and of you who have gone through the loss of a loved one for our military, we thank you for your sacrifice. And we know that your son or daughter gave that ultimate sacrifice for us, and we truly appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. It's something that doesn't go lightly with this group. I can guarantee you that.
No, and we think we spend time. You know, me and my kids, I'm bringing them up to understand things like that. We have a whole Memorial Day thing at home, and we talk about it and everything. But one thing I always bring up is, yes, there was a person in the military that was killed in the line of duty, but then somebody's taking that phone call. Yeah, a mom, a wife, who's now a single mother, you know, and all that. So you know, there's other people involved. It's not just as easy as, well, this person died. Let's have a funeral and move on. You know. Yeah. But
Kim will tell you about how hard it was just sitting at home watching the news every night. You know. And they would scroll faces, and you hope that you would get notified before the news notified you. Like,
yep.
You know, it's even surviving. It's rough. It's rough on some family members. You know, you know it is. But well, let's move on to some. I mean, I don't know how. I really don't know how to segue out of this, to be honest with you. Like, I don't want to just say move on, because I don't want to minimize it at all. But but let's. What's been going on in your world
this week? I remember last week we talked about we'd have all these cabinets built. They are built. All the drawers are built. Trey kind of got thrown into that. I was working on some drawings and stuff, and he was like, "Hey, I got all these parts ready for the drawers." And I was like, "Okay. So just, whenever you're ready, we can put them together." And I was like, I kind of looked at him, and he goes, "All right, I'll get it." So he went down there and put them all together, and so we got all that done. We got a little bit of painting left to do, but all the doors are done, thank goodness. So we just got to paint the boxes. I did put a coat on yesterday. Got that done. So, and yeah, we got those built. We got the huge job. We got them drawn up and approved, so that is good. We're going to be starting on that next week. Went in that house, by the way, and this is funny. So Trey follows me around with the clipboard, and he writes down notes, because, dude, we talk about everything in the house, and he's got to be quick about it. He's got to hurry up and write down whatever we're talking about, Yeah, I want this over here. I want that over here. I want the top of this open, the bottom closed, split this in half, do the, But one thing is he wrote like a built-in, the left side, the measurement, I couldn't tell what it was written on the paper as, if it was a 6 or 8.
Oh, I've done that.
The right side was 60. The left side was something 5, 65 or 85. So I took it to him and I said, what is this? He goes, man, that's an 8. I said, you sure? He's like, yep. And then he looks at it, he goes, I'm 95% sure that's an 8. 5% might be a 6. I said, well, what are we going to do if we build this cabinet 20 inches too long or too short?
Either way, no bueno.
And he's like, yeah, that ain't going to work. And I also needed a floor to ceiling height. Somehow or another that got missed. So we just me and the wife rode up there and took a measurement.
A little date time?
Yeah, hey, she got to get it where she can get it, man.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? Come to find out, it wasn't 85, it was 65. So the cabinet would have been 20 inches too long.
Oh.
Kind of glad I did. And then there was another one I was a little nervous about.
Too long or too short?
Both of them suck equally as bad.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Nope, because you're talking new carcass, new case, new frame, new doors, new drawers, new everything.
Wrong is wrong.
Yeah. Now the top, it's better for it to be too long because you can always just cut it. But the cabinet, it's got to be right.
That's true.
But anyway, so we got that figured out. And there was another one that I was a little nervous about getting in. And the good thing I checked that too when I was there, because one long cabinet would not have fit in that room. We had to split it up. So
yeah.
And then let's see. So we got all that stuff going. There was a random sink that showed up at the shop, and come to find out that was Sensei's daughter's house. We're doing that job.
Okay.
And he had talked to her, and he goes, "Just ship your sink. It's a farm sink, of course." So he said, just ship it over here. So I come in one day, and there's a porcelain sink sitting in there, and I'm like, I'm not touching that. I don't know whose that is. I called a couple of customers. I said, did you send a sink? Nope. What about you? Did you send? Nope. And I'm like, well, I don't know who in the world sink this is. And then Charlie came in one day and said, you see the sink down there? I said, yeah, whose is that? And he goes, well, that's, my daughter. I said, oh, okay. Whatever.
Can I have a note? Can I have a note next time?
So I did want to, let's see, so I will tell you this, and we kind of talked about this, but we are going for Memorial Day. Trey said, hey, I'm just saying, it's a Friday. He goes, man, if you want to beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, around Monday a little bit, just let me know. And a translation of beep, boop, 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 beep is metal detecting.
Oh.
So I called my brother, and I said, hey, you got any spots for us to go? And he's like, tell you what. I'm tearing down this building in Greenville. It used to be an elementary school, then the Board of Education, then the police department. So there's a chance some little kid dropped his lunch money out there, and we're going to go find it. So that'll be.
If you find any change, it's mine. I was flipped upside down a lot as a preschool child.
So we're going to go Trey and Riley. Riley, man, you better watch Riley. She would just about. She got a machine. It's an Ace 300 or 350, something like that. Anyway, you talk about a coin shooting joker, boy. She can find a coin. So yeah, that'll be fun. And of course, it's a competition every time we go. So
to see who can find the most valuable, the most oldest. Like, yeah. What do you? Okay.
We go by the most value. I've got the oldest Wheatie. Between the three of us, I got one from 1919, I think, or 1916. That's the oldest coin we found here.
Okay.
And then what Riley's got just about daggum jars of coins she's found.
Really?
Yeah, but after it's been buried for 10, 15 years, it's pretty much corroded and all that. And so anyway, we're doing that. And then I made a note called The Great Escape. So somewhat big news for the people that know us. We raise La Mancha goats. And we have, the house going on and the fencing is down and, they had to tear all that down. It's a huge mess. They put the road in, and the barn floods now with a heavy. We just got done with a week of rain.
Oh, really?
And so the barn was flooded, and Tammy's like, you know what? Now's just not a good time for all these goats and dealing with all this stuff. So she has decided to sell out of all the goats.
Oh.
Now she's still gonna do the soap. She's got a bunch of friends she can buy, fresh milk off of. But So she goes, well, I tell you what, the last month they're here, we're waiting on one more kid. And she goes, I'm going to, some friends of ours have an electronic net wire fence, right? So it's really lightweight, plastic poles, it's movable. You can move it wherever you want to, set it up. So we go pick that up. And she brings it back. She spends, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours out there, man. She cuts the grass where the fence is going to go. And she puts this fence up, and she runs wire, and all this. Now, I will say that we didn't want to run an extension cord all the way to the pasture.
Yeah.
But I've got an electric fence, a permanent one already set up that we took. The box is still inside the shop, and it's a 60-mile bull fence. It is, you talk about knock your socks off. Because, for those of you who raise hard-headed animals like goats and sheep, just because it says it's good for goats don't mean it is. They can rest that noggin on that wire for a long time without getting hit. You got to step it, yes. You have got to step up your power for goats and sheep.
Did you hear about the bull that was just in the news, speaking of?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I can't remember where. They ended up having to shoot it. The police, it attacked the farmer. Law enforcement and paramedics trying to get to the farmer to, help him out, and the bull wouldn't have nothing to do with it. They ended up having to shoot the bull to be able to help this farmer. The farmer ended up dying.
That's horrible.
They couldn't get to him.
Yeah, you're not going to do nothing. But you talking about barehanded with a bull? No, sir. You ain't going to do nothing.
Yeah.
You might as well be a daggum feather on the fence. So she goes through all this, man. She's got the kids out there, and they're setting this fence up, and they work on it. It's hot. They're out there in the sun. They work on this fence, and she's like, all right. So we tied it in to our existing wiring for the fence. She goes and gets all these goats and everything and puts them inside the fence one at a time. These kids are toting goats probably 100 feet across the yard, the little babies, and they're just like, they're screaming and everything. So they get them all in there.
What does a goat weigh? Or these goats? What are they? I mean, how big are we talking
Full
about?
grown one of these goats is probably 130 pounds, 150 pounds, somewhere along in there. Babies are, 20, 25, maybe 30 pounds, depending on the age.
Are they wiry? Are they kicking around, or do they tote? They just loud?
Well, it's different from goat to goat.
Okay.
So Joseph got one, and as soon as he picked the goat up, boom, head to the side, might as well have been dead.
Kind of like a fainting goat.
That's right.
Oh.
And Tommy goes and gets one, and he is 4 hooves in the air, but he is kicking and hollering and trying to get out. And Tommy's sitting there just trying to hold him.
Get off me! Get off me!
Oh, man, it was so funny. So they finally get all these goats in the fence. And sooner or later, one of them's going to go put their nose on the fence. So one of them did, and it, pow, popped them, and they kind of stood there and looked at it and then ran off, and here comes a little baby. And Tammy's like, no, little baby, don't get back. Popped the baby on the nose, and the baby runs off and everything. Well, we got this one apparently hard-headed doe out there. She goes up, and that nose touches that fence. And this goat freaks out and goes straight into the fence. Instead of turning around and backing off, she goes in the fence. Yeah. So now we've got a problem. This is when your brain kind of goes to slow motion. There's nothing you can do. You're just sitting back watching. She bull rushes the fence, gets all 4 feet hung up in this electric fence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's tripping, trying to get out of it. Her feet are going everywhere. She's falling down. Now, the thing about electric fence is once it's down and there's a lot of it hitting the earth, then it's easier for the electricity to go through the ground than it is through the goat.
Kind of starts grounding itself out.
Yep. As soon as it goes down, so don't think the goat's just sitting there getting tore up. I mean, she wasn't even right. That doesn't happen. It'll ground itself out, and then it doesn't really do anything. So now she's hollering at Joseph to go turn the electric fence off. This goat rips up 30 feet of fence, tears it up. I mean, just it's all hung up around her feet, tears it up. Joseph takes off running. The rest of the goats go, oh, look. Aunt Sue just took down a bunch of the fence. This is awesome. Now we've got 14 goats out there running around. They're going everywhere because they're freaking out. The livestock guardian dog sees her chance to get out. So she runs out of the hole and beeline straight across. There's a park across the road. And there's a woman over there with a boxer inside the fence. Grace, which is our guardian dog, beeline straight over there, just barking, just digging at the fence, all this stuff. And the lady's freaking out in the park. We got goats everywhere. Tammy's hollering. Joseph is running to go turn the fence off. Tommy is in my office in here editing the podcast. He decides to come out. He walks out.
He's wishing he hadn't done that.
He walks out in front of that shop, man, and he's looking. He's like, "What in the world's going on?" And I said, "Man, just go get a goat. Grab a goat, grab a dog, grab something, put everything back in the barn." It was 15 minutes of just pure calamity, man. Oh. And I think at that moment, when Tammy's running around, trying to be ladylike, trying not to cuss, she has, I think, come to the realization that it's okay that we're selling all these goats. I'm still going to be upset. Yeah, I'm still going to be a little upset. I hate to see my buddies go. I'm tired.
Right.
I'm done with this. I'm tired of this. We're just gonna do it and be okay with it. So they're out there now. She's been out there with them for a long time. I think everything, we fixed the fence and all that. But man, like we said before, man, if you think you're just going to grab some goats and everything's going to be fine, you better think again, buddy. They're going to get you.
Hobby farm. Wow. No, thank you. I don't.
That was crazy. But other than that.
So you think you'll sell the goats and y'all will be done like never again, or?
No, we'll have some more. It'll be a different breed.
Okay.
It'll
Maybe
be
a little stupider one.
Yep. It'll be for Tammy and I.
Oh, so I would do the fainting goats. That way, when they get out, you just hit an air horn and scare them. They all just fall over.
You just fall over. You don't have to chase them.
Yeah, just go pick them up. Just get you a big air horn.
She won't let me have them.
Why? Because you'll do it all the time.
Yep, she knows that's exactly what'll happen all day long. But
yeah,
we'll probably get some Nigerian dwarfs or maybe some pygmies or something. 3 or 4 of them. Just kind of easy keepers. Not really worried about register and breeding programs, milk production, and all that. It's just going to be kind of like just some friends. And I tell you what, I'll be honest with you. In feed and hay, it runs us about $700 a month.
No, sir.
To feed those goats. Yep. So unless she sells $700 a month in soap in profit, then, there's no way to catch up to that cost. And
that seems like a lot of soap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. I don't know what soap is charged, but
it's $6 a bar. So you're talking over 100 bars.
I don't think that happens.
Some months it does, some months it don't. But we, and then you have vet bills and medicines and all this stuff. So part of being an adult is like when I bought the shop, I got rid of all my leather tools. I haven't touched a stitch of leather since right after I bought the shop. That was a hobby of mine. I got out of metal detecting. Luckily, I'm back in it now. Things have kind of settled down. But, she's just like, we're building a house. We got the business we're running. We got kids, that we're homeschooling. A lot of stuff going on right now. I can't be here.
Yeah.
And we don't live here.
That's true.
So,
that's probably changed the dynamic a lot, not living there anymore.
Exactly. Yep. So, now it's, I got to go down, check on one. I got one that's going to, kid any minute now. I got to stay down. She will spend all night in that barn if she's got a goat that's about to kid.
Really?
All night. I've seen her out there in the rain, the sleet, ice storms, whatever.
I mean, what's is there a polite way to ask what like the estimated value of one of these style of goats are? Like, so like if you lost one, or you like, I mean, we talking about like.
So for a registered, for a registered La Mancha, a good registered La Mancha, on a good average, you're talking about $1,000 a goat.
Okay, so I mean, we're talking like good dog breeding money, like type kind of thing.
Yep. Right. So $600 to $1,000, and there's some that go, like the national champion boar goat a couple of years sold for $150,000.
Wow. So
obviously we're not in that category,
right?
But they do have a monetary value to them. We spend a lot of time breeding. We in the goat world is kind of weird, but we spend a lot of time and effort.
And y'all been in this for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, y'all been doing this.
Yeah. And we had an established herd. We had people that would call and say, when Cat Scratch Farms has a kid available, we want it.
Yeah.
Like we're at the point where people are kind of looking for us to have kids. And it takes a long time to get your herd to where, people are looking for them. So, but anyway, it's going to be tough to let them go. I enjoy going out there, and just kind of chilling with them.
I know where you can have some sheep. I know where you can get your hands on some sheep. You ain't gonna chill with them. I'm so tired of them stupid things. I keep every day. I try to touch one or pet one, and they just man, they don't have nothing to do.
Nope. No. A sheep is utilitarian.
Yeah,
they are strictly utilitarian.
I thought one of them needed my help the other day, and I walked out there, and he let me know he didn't need my help.
I'm just trying to help you, bud.
I thought it was, like the string that comes around like a hay bale.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't pick it up. There's like millions of those things laying around out there, and I thought it was like tied up. Actually,
right. Oh yeah, they will get there.
And it was one of the babies. Like,
oh yeah.
And realistically, it just wasn't sure what to do when this thing was wrapped around it. But as soon as I got out there, after I climbed through the fence and get out there, he's like, "Oh no, look at me! I'm free. I'm actually not tangled. Look at me,
Got him.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sitting there for 5 minutes watching him with this rope, like kind of around his foot, and I was like, "Oh, he's stuck. Like he's not gonna get out of there." And then as soon as I go, he's like, "Oh, I was just not sure what it was. I'm good."
we had a La Mancha buck. He was 350, 400 pounds. La Mancha bucks can get really big. They're built kind of like a Great Dane. They're a little slender, a little thin, but they're really tall, and he had got hay string. Now we are particular about hay strings. We don't leave any down, but every now and then, you'll have one fall, you don't realize it. And he got that sucker tied up around both of his back feet. And luckily he was a very sweet goat, but he stunk. If you ever smelled a billy goat, they stink.
Really?
And I had to go and push my body into a corner, and he was like, "What are you doing?" Like, I thought, like, what, what's going on? Yeah, with a knife, because he had done, they were basically like slip knots around his feet.
He's been hobbled together.
Yeah, and I have no idea how this goat even did that, but I'm, pushing him up against the wall, and I got a knife, and he's kicking, and his foot's kicking. I'm trying not to cut his leg off and finally get it out. And I get it out, and he thinks it's playtime now. He thinks I'm out there roughhousing with him, and when he wants to play, and I'm like, nope, not playing. But yeah, you got to watch that stuff. That, man, I tell you, a goat will get hurt, buddy. God, man, they'll get hurt on anything. You can put a pillow out there, and a daggum goat will get hurt on it.
You ever had one just like run up, just like ram you in the rear end?
Not any of these.
No.
Wow. Nope.
I think that'd be fun.
I mean, I have. Oh, okay. I've had that, but none of these goats that we have.
Not the current ones, but you've had it.
Yeah. So when we raise boars, the bucks are built like gorillas, and they are just super dense with muscle, and they have huge horns. And I had one that was playing. They'll go up on their back feet and they'll come down and they'll stop short. Well, I didn't see it, and I was moving to the side. And when he came down, that sucker got me, Charlie horsed me.
Oh, really?
Right in the leg. Man, I about killed that son of a gun. But yeah, he was, like I said. But now sheep, I'm telling you, you better not trust them sheep. Them sheep will get you.
Yeah, I try not to fool with them, but I want to speak to them. I'd like for them to let me like just pet it on the head and walk off, but
yeah,
they don't. But I don't know.
That's pretty much all I got.
Yeah.
Just been another good week over here.
Man, sounds like you're just living it up.
Oh yeah, man. You never know what's going to happen over here every day.
I understand completely. Yeah. Well, I had an install this week. The laundry room from hell is installed and in. So there's no more design changes. Cabinets are in. Cabinets are in. But potential customers out there, let me give you a piece of advice. When we walk over things with you and we're talking about, the project, is there anything we can do? Are you happy? Does everything look good? Don't wait 6 to 8 hours to say something about something. So do the install, part of the install was a floating shelf above the washer and dryer.
Mm-hmm.
And so she texts us later, it was like 7 or 8 o'clock that night. It's like, well, we feel like this shelf is a little low. If somebody else brings another washer and dryer in here and it's any taller, it's not going to fit. I said, well, you were very specific about you wanted as much room between this shelf and the cabinets above it as you possibly could. I said, so I set it as low as I possibly could. You just moved into this house and bought brand new Speed Queen washing machines and dryers. Very good machines.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going anywhere. And if you move and somebody else brings another machine in, it's not your problem, for one thing.
Let them deal with it.
But I was like, but machines are pretty standard. Like, there's not a whole lot of variation in heights between washing machines and dryers.
Right, yep.
Like, it's a pretty standardized, and that was kind of my point. The other was kind of funny stuff to kind of, like, what does it matter? But the end point was, it is kind of a standardized machine. Like, there's not a whole lot of variation in them.
And a Speed Queen is top load.
Yeah.
Washing machine. So if the lid works there like it is now, nothing else is going to bother.
Right. And I was like, but I mean, it can be moved if you want it moved. I don't know what you're going to do with the drywall that's attached to the shelf, because that sucker is power grabbed to the wall and it's set by now. Like, if, I mean, but it's one of those things. It's kind of frustrating, but it's just part of it. Like, we had a long conversation because there's another shelf that's going on a back wall that we set dimensions for and everything before I left. So we had an entire 20-minute conversation with this shelf on the wall in the room with it. Nothing was ever said. And if we needed to move it then, we could have moved it. Like, it wasn't set yet. But now, you're hours later, I'm like, it's there. I mean, I don't just mount floating shelves with screws. I mean, that sucker is adhesive as well as, to the studs.
Oh, yeah, you're talking sheetrock work and all kind of stuff now.
Right? I mean, but we get there. I laugh so hard. So I text Derek the night before. I said, hey, sleep well. This is going to be a rough install. And he's like, why? I said, can't get the trailer in the driveway. It's too steep. He's like, oh. He's like, well, I'll eat my potatoes. So we get there that morning. I was like, is that an Irish thing? Like, eating potatoes? Because we say you need to eat your Wheaties. Like, he's like, oh, Wheaties, He's like, yeah, that's like, bulk up, you need your protein. I was like, I figured this what it was, but I just want to see. So, which I was wrong. I actually kind of mixed up two houses. We were able to get in the driveway. But I was like, hey, good thing is we're in the driveway. Bad thing is laundry room's upstairs. He goes, are you serious? I was like, yeah, it really is.
Who does that?
Like, he's like, you're lying. All the bedrooms are upstairs in this house. So it kind of makes sense. Now, I feel way sorrier for the guys who carried these washers and dryers up this, because them things were heavy. Like, they were still in the room, so we kind of had to move them around a little bit. But it was one of those stairways, too, where it goes up, and then it's got a little turn, and then another little turn. And we had one cabinet that was 29 inches wide, 28 inches deep, and 7 foot tall.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's what got you.
So we had to go in vertical upstairs and then walk it. And then once we got in, we had to, like, put a towel on the banister, because the banister is right across from the laundry room. So I had to put a blanket on the banister, lay it on the banister, and just kind of slip it into the laundry room and then stand it back up. It went in like a glove. Luckily, it was not MDF.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
He said, if this is MDF, I'd left it at the bottom of the stairs. I was like, wait, it's your business. You can't quit. He's like, I would have. And it had no shelves in it because it's getting this big ironing board in it. So it was literally just a box with a face frame. So it really it was light, but it was awkward. But it went in pretty well. But that was my first, I've never done a vanity before, believe it or not. That was my first vanity. Yep. For a farmhouse sink on top of it.
How tall did you make the vanity?
She wanted it a little taller. So it was 35. And then they're going to do a stone top on it.
Yeah.
She said she didn't want to bend down to the sink, so we pulled it up just a tad.
Yeah. And just to let the audience know, there is a behind the scenes conspiracy. You know, we kind of control what standards are because we make them.
Mm-hmm.
So over the last 10 years, the standard for vanities is kitchen height, 36 finished.
Yeah.
And we do that without telling you. Because if you have a little 5-year-old little kid that needs to brush his stupid little teeth, he can get on a stool.
Yeah.
But rebuilding a vanity when the kid turns 10 is a lot more expensive.
I've had a rash of houses I feel like I've been in lately that the vanity is, bathroom vanity is super low.
Super low. They used to be 32. 32 was the standard. And I don't know why. Like, you make your kitchen 36 and your vanity 32. Like, why would you...
Well, this was just a laundry room sink, so it wasn't really. I mean, I say vanity, but it was just a laundry room sink. But it was. She had like the plastic sink in there before, like the freestanding, and it was lower than that. Mm-hmm. So we brought it up higher than that was. But
and it was an apron front sink.
Mm-hmm.
Was it porcelain or stainless?
Stainless.
How'd you do your supports on the inside?
I just did I just did my face frame, and then I just ran 2 stretchers just underneath it. You know, I went by and picked the sink up, took the sink to the shop. It's like I'm not building a vanity for a sink I don't have on hand.
Yep.
It just sounds like a nightmare.
It is. Don't ever do it.
Yeah. And then ran 2 stretchers for it. Just did two flat stretchers just right underneath it. So it's set right on top of it.
Yeah, that's what we do. I let the front rail support the front of the sink,
mm-hmm.
and then I do 1 stretcher behind the drain. I like to leave at least an inch behind the drain, and we screw that in from both sides of the cabinet, so it'll. Man, they're a pain in the neck, man. I'm thinking about going up and just putting $100 bill on a farm sink.
Yeah,
you know, because there's a lot of extra work that goes into that. You know, making that cabinet for it. So
there was, but I didn't know if it was just because it was my first one or what.
But here's a helpful trick for you.
All right,
you build your cabinet, and then you put a stiff piece of wood across the top of the cabinet at the back.
Okay,
it's just longer than the opening, right? I mean, it could be 8 feet long, and you set a couple of clamps up there. You get your sink, you put your sink in the opening. And you can clamp the sink to your stretcher board that's going across the top of the cabinets, and it holds the back of the sink up
flat.
And you just reach in up under there, with your support. I reach in there and I mark it on both sides. Then I put pre-drill holes where I marked out where the stretcher was going, so I know where the screws go. Put the stretcher back, screw it in.
Yeah,
that's how we do them. But yeah, it helps if you have another hand, but a lot of times you don't.
Yeah, I don't.
So. And I do leave a 1/16 of an inch between the top of the sink and the countertop.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can flush it up, but I do. I leave a little spot for them to caulk.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little disappointed by the contractor. I'm air quoting for those of you who are just listening by audio, because I don't really know. She kept calling him contractor, but I don't know. But I've had this happen a few times, and it seems to be more when it's handyman type kind of person versus a contractor.
Yeah.
But we told her, the old sink needs to come out. We don't mess with plumbing, and it needs to be capped off. Well, we get there and it's not capped off. Just the shutoff valves are turned off. And I was like, do you realize how big of a hole we have to put in the bottom of the cabinet to get to the shutoff valves through? Yep. And she's like, well, it is what it is. And I was like, it sucks because I
hate it.
I don't want to put 1.5 inch hole, 2.5 inch holes in the bottom of this cabinet.
Yep.
But that's what it takes to get those valves through there. I was like, it is what it is. And she's like, well, what should it have been? I said, well, normally when a plumber comes in and does this, they cap them. They take the valves off. They dead end it. We have stubs. And then, we just run the PEX stubs through and we're done. And you got a nice tight hole that can have, covers over it. And I was like, you're not going to get a cover around this,
Nope.
It's a little disappointing on that part because somebody looks at it. They're not going to, do they ask, these valves must have been on there so they had to put big old holes. Or did they say,
couldn't read a tape measure?
What jackleg carpenter put these big old holes in here? It's just one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's back to that I'm going to paint it myself piece. You know, it's like, okay, well, that's fine, but don't tell anybody who built it.
Yep. Just wait till you run across. It's got the water, the hot and cold coming in the back, and the drain coming in the side.
Drain coming in the side?
Yep. You'll run across that. They're out there.
Why is it not coming in the same plane?
It could be a shared wall. There's all kind of. We run into it sometimes with that, and then we also run into the built-ins by the fireplace where you have the media tube going in the side of the fireplace, and then you also have outlets in the back. That's not an issue because nothing sticks out of the side of the fireplace. But when you have a drain pipe that's a foot long coming out the wall,
yep,
and then we just have to cut a huge slot out in that cabinet.
Yeah,
there's no other way. I mean, physically, you can't get that cabinet to cover both of them at once.
I told you about that one built-in that had the water access in the side of the fireplace that I did put back in the cabinet. That was super weird. But got that in, got a few things going, got some Auburn blue paint mixed up this weekend for a paint sample for the trophy cases. Get that approved, and we're fixing to rip them bad boys down. Finally got the table saw put together. Holy Moses. Got it square finally. The fence was not square. That was the problem. Did have to phone a friend a couple of times, talk to Mitch about that, try to figure that out. Only problem now is that now I have a two-handed fence. Yep, takes two hands to move it now that I got it square. It's sucker so tight. It's so
tight. You mean on the wings, on the rail.
Yeah.
You should be able to back off, like a half a turn on both screws or something.
I don't know. I finally got it square, so I'm scared to mess with it. I mean,
yeah. So there's
I gotta grab it and
no, you don't want that. You don't want that.
And pull it to me.
So take it out, and there's two screws in there that you use to square the fence up with the blade.
Yeah.
Go half a turn out on both of them.
Oh, just like mirror it left and right.
Yeah. That keeps it square.
Well, now I feel as stupid as I did when I pulled my air filter off.
I wrote that down too, by the way.
Well, hey, I'm going to own it. I ain't got no problems.
And wax.
Yeah.
Everything on that fence that slides except for the brake.
Yeah.
So your brake probably breaks on the front of the rail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't wax that, obviously. But everything else, dude, on my saw stop, I can take my hand and I can go.
Yeah.
And it just slides over.
You do that on mine, and you're going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And it don't matter. You could come out, one whole turn or whatever. But whatever you do to one, just line your Allen screw up and
just
turn it and turn the other one.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to be fighting that thing.
Hey, I got I won't show it to everybody like I did last time, but I got a new 1/4-inch line across my stomach. Thank God it wasn't 3/4-inch plywood this time. But
is it in the same spot?
Pretty much, yeah. Right in that same target zone. Yeah, right where you stand behind the table saw,
Mm-hmm.
Stupid cutting a narrow piece that was longer than it was wide. And I focused too much on this side and not enough on this side. And boy, it flipped that sucker around and threw it right into me. Golly. And then I grabbed the other piece and went right back and did it again.
Of course you did. Do you not own a chop saw?
I do. Mm-hmm. It's just right. It's just I can almost touch it from where I was. Yeah.
Great. That's great.
Why sometimes I don't feel the need to use it, I don't know. But yeah, it's right there.
Now, that's one thing I'll say about the radial arm saw setup that we have. We have a sliding fence on it, a stop or whatever.
Yeah.
And, man, when I get to one of them sketchy cuts, dude, I'll go set that fence to 42 1/4, whatever, and I'll stick it now zing with the radial arm saw. My rule is 11 inches wide. Like, if you got a piece of wood that's a piece of plywood 11 inches by, 9 feet long or 8 feet long, whatever. If I'm 11 inches, I'm good. But if I go any more narrow than 11 inches against the fence, a no-go.
Yeah.
I don't run it on the saw. I cut it on a radial arm saw.
Yeah, I should.
Sensei is another story. That's such a scary. He come in one day and I said, Trey, watch him. And Trey could look for about 30 seconds. He goes, dude, I can't watch him. I said, dude, I don't know how in the world that man still got his hands.
Right.
I mean, you talk about sketchy, boy. Sketchy.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is basically if you have a piece I guess the easiest rule of thumb is if it's longer than it is wide, that's when it really starts to get sketchy on a table saw.
Yep.
And so what I was doing was, I think my piece was about 11 inches wide, I would say. And I think it was like 30 inches long. But the overall piece that I was actually, this is another problem too, that I think plays into it as a factor. The piece that I was using was like a full 8-foot piece. So I've got these two very long pieces. Now, if I had a 40-inch piece and I needed 30 inches out of it, I think that gets way less sketchy when you only have like a little 10-inch piece. You can put both hands on your keep piece, if that makes sense, and run it through, and you can just let your scrap be your scrap. But when you've got to manage that other piece and keep them square with each other, that's when you're asking for bad things to happen. And I know that. I know that, and you just get going, or you get late. I don't know if lazy is the right word, but
it's wanting to be efficient.
I mean, you're just like, I'm right here. I got the saw spinning already. Dust collector's on already. I mean, but it got me. I mean, it did. But hey, this was the first job that I have built that I didn't use track saw on one time. Now that I have.
Well, round of applause, quick.
Yeah,
round of applause.
I mean, right.
Round of applause. Here it comes.
I mean, it's just. Yeah.
Listen, he's getting there, people. He's getting there.
Yeah. Woo, there. They're really ramped up over that. Yeah. It's just, it was different. It was faster. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I saved some time. I know I did, not having to set that up. But now having that big old cross-cut capability it's a game changer. It's nice. Things are nice and tight. A lot of accuracy. I mean, you can be pretty accurate with a track saw. Don't get me wrong, but you can be 16th off. You can be a 30-second off, and in the cabinet world, that stuff shows. It just does. I mean, if you're not matching parts, I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, it was nice. It was just a nice change of pace on this build.
How much wax did you put on the table saw?
Well, so that's kind of a funny story. So I had it down. I couldn't get it working. Come in one morning. It was a weekend morning because the girls went with me to help me wire those letters. And I walked in, I said, "You've got to be kidding me." They were like, "What?" I was like, "Look at that thing. It is, I mean, already rusted." They're like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." And Taylor was like, "Well, it's brand new." And I was, so I haven't explained to him, cast iron, the shop. So, and went over to the shapers. They were starting to rust. I was like, "All right." I just ordered some paste wax. I was like, "Girl, this is what I need y'all to do." So they cleaned everything up for me real good. They put a coat of paste wax on everything, just to kind of, while it was still sitting in the corner, I was like, let's protect it. Come in the next day, it still looks good. Get the saw put together, get it all up and going. Then the next day come in, it's rusted again. I'm like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "We must not have." So I mean, I'm not talking bad, obviously, you're not getting anything bad in a
flash
night.
Rusting.
Yeah, so did a good cleanup on it, got some good acetone on it, got it wiped down again, got it all cleaned off, and I paste waxed the crap out of it. Just got a big old hunking glob of it, basically. Just used it like a bar of soap this time. And just went to town on it. So I'm trying to make a rule to do a Friday clean of the shop and kind of do a good paste wax down of all the surfaces, on Fridays, just to kind of for a good maintenance. It's easier to do a little maintenance than it is to clean.
You ain't lying. And it's kind of like that old adage, a sharp knife is safer than a dull one.
Yeah.
And a slick table saw, you wouldn't think that you want that surface to be slick, but you don't want, last thing you want is that wood binding on that.
Yeah. Friction's not your friend.
No, because you're already got to fight the bind like you did on that narrow piece.
Yeah,
you're already fighting. Last thing you want is that table fighting you, man, and trying to drag one piece of it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you got a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood that you're trying to keep square, and you're trying to work through there. Let alone let it be MDF where it's 98 pounds, and you're swinging it around out there. You want the wheels on your tires to be, on your car to be lubed. I mean, you want everything to free spin and rotate like it should, and that's really what the top of that saw does. But yeah, good. And I went ahead and ordered 2 cans of paste wax because I know Johnson's is not making it anymore, so it's hard.
Something that's crazy, man.
It seems weird to me, but I mean, I guess it's just kind of a dying breed, so I don't know what is really going to make a good replacement for it. So I was like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 cans of this, and I'll hold on to it. Now I may be retired by the time I get to the second can. Who knows? But
well, I tell the guys I want these work surfaces, the cutting surfaces, to be like an air hockey table. So if you picture how that puck just slides across, that's how we want that wood to slide across. And I know it's hard for some people to realize that that's safe, but just trust me. It is a lot.
Side of the fence, mention back of the rails on the on the shapers. You're a little. I mean,
yep.
You
the
want
only thing
you're
fighting is the blade, man. It's the only thing you need to fight against. Speaking of which, I saw somebody put out a trailer tour video.
Did you see that? Did you see that? I finally did it. I mean, it took forever to do it, and it took forever to edit it.
And that is on...
It took forever to post it to the right channel.
That is on Off the Rails Instagram.
Yep.
So you can find that, and then you can see Travis's trailer, and it's a sweet setup, by the way, man. That thing is sweet.
I've really enjoyed having it set up, and what I feel is set up properly, to actually be more than just a transporting trailer, to be able to work out of it.
Yeah. I'll send you a video of my trailer.
Nice.
We'll see what you think about it.
Hey.
So just falling apart. And
I mean,
it's horrible, man. I got to do something.
It's just one of those things where I was fortunate enough to get it and have a window to not need it. I think and sometimes that just doesn't happen. I mean, like, you bought a business that had wheels on it and was rolling too. I mean, so it's kind of hard to and that's what a lot of people. And I think I've said it before on here. I know I've said it to you and joking around with other people. Some of the nicest shops you go into are freaking hobby shops. It's because they got time to, run. I don't know if I told you or not, but I went in this one guy's shop, and I make all his airlines were like super like evenly spaced around the room from his dust collector pipe, and they were all in copper pipe and in these nice standoffs from the wall. I mean, it looked great. People trying to make money ain't got time for that.
Right. I was going to say that's part of his hobby.
Yes. Yeah. That's
doing stuff
making
like
the
that.
shop look nice. I mean, I got an air hose that's thrown across 5 rafters that goes to the reel. That's just barely screwed to the ceiling. Like, hey, I need air right there. Get
and
it
you
to
get
me.
the same amount of air he does.
Yeah.
Well,
learned I need a little bit more air this week. Apparently.
What was that? Oh yeah, that was. I was going to ask you because the last podcast you were trying to figure out why one of your dust collectors wasn't performing very well.
Yeah.
So do we have an update on that?
Oh,
do we?
Yeah.
We got an update.
Yeah. Slight bit of information. First thing is that people will lie to you, just so you know. So Mitch's suggestion was take the air filter off, see if your suction increases now that you have airflow. So, and it seems like a weird concept, right? But for a vacuum to work, it also has to be able to push air out. Like it's got to go somewhere. If you're suffocating the exhaust side of it, then it doesn't have the ability to draw in, right?
Yep.
So he's like, take the air filter off for a second, see what it looks like. If you get a bunch more air, then you know that filter's got some kind of restriction or something. That's probably where your problem is. It's not the bag, because I thought it was the plastic bag that's collecting chips versus the cloth bag, so I wasn't getting any air to escape down there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I took the filter off, and what would you say, an inch?
Oh, at least an inch.
I mean, I'll post a picture of it when this airs because I took pictures of it. It's at least an inch deep of sawdust that it was caked. I'm not talking about inside of the filter. I'm talking about the inside of the filter's full. Now we're above the inside of the filter, and I've got like this much of my finger. I mean, at least to the first joint in the sawdust, and I'm like, I think I found the problem.
It was cake, dude. I'm talking. A lot of hours has gone by before somebody cleaned that filter. A lot of hours.
It took me about 40 minutes. Now, some of that was just letting my tank fill up because I have a small air compressor. I
don't do much paint, man. I don't need no big tank.
Apparently, if you buy a crappy filter that's full of sawdust, you need a bigger tank. But so I mean, I was bouncing that thing on the pavement, kind of doing the light bounce and spinning it at the same time and blowing it from the outside, blowing it from the inside, bounce, 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 blowing it from the outside, blowing it from the inside.
What a mess, man.
I mean, and but when I put that sucker back on there, I mean, I had a cyclone going in the bag again. I was like, hey, I think I found the problem.
Amazing. And another, something I'll add to that is, you guys listening, I'm sure you've had a shop vac and something plugged up the end of it. You sucked up a rag or something, a piece of paper, and you hear the motor get real high pitched.
Yeah.
So the same thing's going on with that filter. If there's no air moving, the motor doesn't have any resistance.
Yeah.
And those motors, they need resistance. You can burn a motor up.
Yeah.
By not letting it have a load on it. We had to replace one in the fire department. Out there in the engine bay, we had one of the big exhaust fans in the wall. And I told him, I said, if you're going to run this fan, we got to leave some of these doors up. We got to have air. And they left it running one night with all the doors shut. There was no real air to, talk about going through the fan. It burned the motor up overnight.
Yeah. Got to have a fresh air intake, basically.
Yeah, you got to have a load on that motor. If that motor doesn't have any load on it, if it's not actually pushing air, it over revs the motor, and you'll burn the stator up and all that stuff in it.
And apparently that it's been pretty much this way since I've had it, because I hadn't had it that long, so I didn't really notice a pitch change in it.
Right.
It's kind of been the same pitch as it's had. But there's just no way. There's no way that I did that. I mean, just there, as full as it was there. I mean, and not in a few weeks. And I hadn't even really had it hooked up.
No, you're talking, dude. In my shop, that would have been 6 or 8 months of just not cleaning that filter. Yeah. Because keep in mind, the only thing it's catching is the tiny stuff.
Yeah.
By the time it gets to the filter.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. I couldn't believe. I was like, well, the guy I bought it from said that it was pretty much a brand new filter. Like, he hadn't had it that long.
Survey says.
Liar. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm glad I asked the question when I did, because could have caused some, like you said, could have caused some damage to the motor, and I mean, it's a good machine. I mean, it's a good Delta machine. I mean, nothing wrong with the machine, but that's not how it came. It didn't come with that filter on it. That's an aftermarket add-on type kind of thing. So, could have burned up a good machine, and I could have been chasing, the wrong thing, just thinking that the guy said it's a new filter and that could be the problem. Yeah. Like, I just, so I am looking for the aftermarket. I don't know if they make one for that filter. I think I told you, but the Big Grizzly's got the jet filters on it. And it's got the turn handles that have a flapper on the inside so that you can clean the filter without having to take it apart. Mm-hmm. I'd really like to find a flapper kit for this one so I can spin it every so often and just knock it instead of taking it apart. But
and I'm sure when I looked up my filter, I found 10 or 15 companies that made them. Yeah. So, it's just like anything else. There's people that have aftermarket stuff in there.
Yeah, it's a Win filter. Like, I found the part number and everything when I took it apart. And he gave me the paperwork for it from where he ordered it in 1999 and put it on top of it. Turns out my filter is just a little bit younger than yours.
I don't know how. I got to change that thing one day, but I'm not. I can't spend the money on that.
Well, I mean, but from what I've read, I mean, as long as you can clean it out and you're still getting your suction, that you've still got pretty good life in them. That the life is way longer, So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
And be careful blowing that thing out. Did you have a blower with the metal tip? Or you got a little plastic tip that there comes out?
It's a metal tip.
Yeah. So next time you're in there blowing that thing out, leave the trigger down and just ease that metal tip to the edge of the opening and see what happens. See if you see that little blue spark about that long.
Oh, really? Just the static?
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Crazy amount of static, man.
Huh.
Yeah, ground yourself. Ground yourself because it'll pop you.
Well, I had a Facebook troll jump on me the other day on a post. This guy was asking how to go from his dust collector to PVC. He's like, I got a 6-inch inlet on there and I want to go to 4-inch PVC. I say, there's an air HVAC 6-inch to 4-inch. I said, it'll take you right to PVC if that's what you want to do. And this guy jumped all over me for not telling him to ground it. I'm like,
listen,
look, buddy, I know it's a possibility. I mean, that for one, he didn't ask me that. He didn't ask that. That wasn't the question. I answered the question that he asked. I don't feel the need to get on there and give everybody a safety blast. I mean, just this is what I know because this is what I just did. I just found this adapter and it went right from a 6-inch to a 4-inch. Sure, stick a screw in there to a grounded piece of metal at some point in time if you want to, if it makes you feel better. But I mean, whatever. I don't know how you feel about the thing being grounded. I don't know.
I don't think it's necessary. People get wound up about the PVC is kind of what makes them, makes them nervous and stuff. And I mean, plastic isn't a very good conductor of electricity.
Yeah. Well,
so how are you?
I do know that my PVC holds dust, but I don't know if it's just from it sitting on it or if it's from static holding it to the outside of it. But
yeah, there's static in there. I mean, you do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, and I'm not going to tell you it has to be done. Obviously, it doesn't because we've got
my shop vac hose also collects dust on the outside of it. Do I need to ground my shop vac hose?
Right. You know what I notice sometimes? I'll take the head unit off my shop vac, and you can stick your arm in there, and the sawdust it'll all move in there. You ever notice that? Oh, it is the freakiest thing. There's so much static in that bucket.
All my shop vacs have bags in them, though. I don't run bag. I try to get them as close to a HEPA filter as I can.
Yeah.
So if you put the bags in there and then change the filter, it's pretty... There's a couple of comparison videos on YouTube that, they compare them to... like the Merca and the Bosch and the Festool dust extractors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty daggone close. I mean, really.
You're getting down to microns now that don't even matter.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting, pretty tight. But, man, what else is going on? I had Facebook post written down here in my notes, and now I can't remember what it was.
Well, I wanted to tell you something. You kind of reminded me of a sore subject.
Okay.
When you said that lady told you to put that shelf there or whatever y'all talked about it and then she wanted it moved.
Yeah.
So we did a vanity, the remodel vanity, a few weeks ago. She's got 2 false fronts, so we got vessel sinks sitting on top of it. So we've all seen these fancy little sinks that sit on top of the countertop.
Yeah.
So she had 2 false fronts under that. You can't put a drawer there, whatever. And I asked the lady, the homeowner, I said, do you want me to put hardware on these false fronts? She's like, what do you think? I said, I normally don't put them on there. It's non-functional, but if you want me to put them on there, I can. Now's the time to tell me because
I'm here.
After we get the countertop on, I'm not going to be able to reach in there and get it. It's a weird vanity. So I wasn't going to be able to reach in there and get it. And she goes, no, leave them off. I said, well, I'm going to leave them here, and I'm going to leave the screws here. If you guys want to pop a couple holes in it later, go ahead. So, yeah, it happened.
Yep.
I got a phone call. Hey, Mitch. They actually wound up, they want to put that hardware on the phone. I said, yeah. I said, well, I don't know when the next time I'm coming over there. Oh, you don't have any reason to come up here? I said, no, I don't go to Montgomery.
Yeah.
Ever. So it's going to be a special trip. And, I hate it, but you had the opportunity while I was there to put these stupid hardware the hardware on. Y'all told me you didn't want it on, and here it is 2 or 3 weeks later. Now you want it on. I got to charge you a trip charge for that. You know, I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and now the granite's on. It's going to be stupid aggravating to try to get in there with a stubby screwdriver and reach up through one of the drawer openings or reach over there and tighten the screw. It's just, why do you people do that? Make a decision. Make a decision. Do you want it on there or not? Make a decision.
Well, how were they about the trip charge? Was she upset about it?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, well, I mean, at least you got that going for you.
And then I told her, I said, well, yeah, I said, I can come this afternoon and do it. She's like, well, tell you what, the plumber's got, and they can't figure out how to put the drawers back in with the undermount guides.
Oh.
They said there's a couple of them that's not closing right. And I said, well, they're not clicked in, obviously, Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I don't know much about these kind of guides. I can't get it to click in, this and that. Why don't you just wait till after the plumber's done? Because they got to pull the drawers out anyway. We'll let them. I said, okay, fine. Call me when they're done, and I'll come do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's part of doing business, man. I mean, I kind of get it. The homeowner's kind of indecisive, and maybe the designer told him, well, he'll be up here, I'm sure, grocery shopping. He can just run over here and do it. And I'm like, nope,
right.
Nope, we don't go up there.
Yeah.
We avoid that place like the plague.
I don't blame you.
But yeah.
Traffic and
so you had one thing on here that I was going to ask you about.
Did I pique your curiosity?
Yeah, with the holy splinter. Did you get a splinter in church?
No.
Oh.
I think I said something last podcast about getting a big old China birch splinter.
Yep, you did.
Didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
So it was right here on my finger. It was right here on the side, actually. Well, a couple of days after it started swelling, I told my wife, I said, this sucker's getting infected. She's like, yeah, and I was kind of mashing on it, you get the little infection, indicator coming out, And I was like, man. So I was kind of doing the peroxide thing on it, and kind of nursing it. And I was in the shower one night, and I said, man, it's really swollen. I got to see if I can get it cleaned out, So I mashed on it pretty hard, and
ooh,
I'm talking about toothpick just popped right out. I was like, oh my God. And if you queasy, just mute it for about 5-6 seconds. This splinter was so big, I actually stuck it to the shower wall, finished my shower, got it, and took it on a show and tell round around the house. I was like, look at what just popped out of this has been in my finger for a week.
Yeah.
I mean, and like Kim saw it as I come across the room. I mean, for a splinter. I mean, of course, we're talking about splinter, so don't, but for a splinter, it was a chunk. It was a chunk.
A splinter can hurt you.
It's amazing. I mean, but it was also just so amazing how, just how God creates our bodies where he just knows that's not supposed to be here.
Yep.
And it was fighting it and keeping it floated. Really keeping it floated up to the surface,
yep.
The way, trying to keep it out of the body. And man, when I got aggressive with the pop, here it come. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. I've got one here on the very side of my finger. And I can't see it, but I can feel it. It's like a hair.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah. But it's amazing, like you said, how your body's just like, we're going to try to shoot. Here comes a train. We're going to try to shoot this thing out the side. So, yeah, it's crazy how your body takes care of it. The other thing.
Oh, my volume was turned down.
Uh-oh. We'll honk back at him.
I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to send some code to him.
If he can hear that. What if he was listening to our podcast right now driving that train?
That'd be hilarious.
It's probably illegal, but
it's not live, so
yeah. He can listen to the
but if he's listening to an old 12. Episode. Yeah.
We're gonna get an email. But like, hey, I came through Sunday evening, man. I know exactly. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. Thanks for tooting your horn at me.
The other thing that you had on the notes that I thought was interesting is work clothes. So I'm interested.
I just crossed off the wrong thing. I had that written down here.
And what your install attire, shop attire, go.
Huh?
What do you wear in the shop versus what do you wear on the install?
Oh. In the shop versus, well, same thing. Shop and install is pretty much the same thing. So I kind of just pretty much have a work set of clothes that are for whatever. I do have one pair of pants and a shirt that I try to keep for consults.
Mm-hmm.
But my schedule doesn't always work where I can do consults and I can shower and change. I try to do consults in the evening. I try to not do consults during the day. So I usually try to work, come home, jump in the shower, and then go do a consult. But what I've been wearing as far as pants, shirts, we just do t-shirts. And I showed a couple of weeks ago, a couple of t-shirts that I had made. Like, that's kind of just a general t-shirt. If I know I'm just going to be in the shop all day, I've got like some old, like Glock shirts and from the gun world, just some old shirts that I wear in the shop. But if there's a potential that I got to go somewhere, I try to wear a branded shirt. Mm-hmm. But I've been wearing Duluth fire hose pants for a long time, for a while. Just the 5 pockets. I don't like a lot of pockets because for me, that just means more sawdust that I take home. The more pockets I got. And,
it's all in the dryer.
Yeah. And I don't use them. Like I don't use cargo pockets or I just don't use them. So I don't find them functional. So I just like straight pants. But
khakis, I'm assuming.
Well, they're gray, they're like a gray color.
They're not denim.
No, they're that flex fire hose material. So it's and they're good pants. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking these pants at all, but they're $80 a pair.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I just need to find something that's a little bit better and maybe a little bit cooler as well. So I'd seen a lot online about True Work. Have you seen them?
Oh yeah.
So I ordered a pair of those. They're also about $80, about the same price. They get here, they seem super comfortable, and I put them on. They felt super comfortable, but the material they're made out of, I said, I'm going to eat through the knees of these. Like doing an install and all. I was like, I was not convinced that it was going to hold up because it's almost like a nylon, like almost like parachute.
A parachute,
almost like wearing an old windsuit, from back in the. So I was like, nah, I'm sending these back. They just cost too much. I'm not going to risk it. So I was like, man, I got to find something else. And I was kind of like, well, I'll just go look at Carhartt. Like, what can I find for like $35-$40 that will look good when I go to a customer's, and look decent on site. But I just kind of tired of pouring, $80 a pair.
Right.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big Carhartt fan since just the whole COVID thing. I'm just not, but whatever. Good product. It's a good product. But so I went to Tractor Supply the other night. I was like, because they carry Carhartt, they carry Wrangler, they carry Ariat. So they carry a couple of different brands and they're pretty good prices. I said, I'm going to see what I can find. Well, so I wanted to share what I found. Now, hopefully, maybe somebody can still find these. They were on clearance. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means they're being phased out or whatnot. But
they are.
Yeah. But they were Wranglers, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yep. They're called, I took a picture of them so I would know us. They're called Wrangler All-Terrain Gear. One of the things that's all riveted pockets. So that was a huge plus. So all the pockets had metal rivets in them. Mm-hmm. The knees were double kneed. So two layers of material on the knees. A canvas type style material. They're not denim, but a canvas type material. $35 for a pair of pants. I grabbed every pair they had in my size. Mm-hmm. I was like, here we go. And I'm just thoroughly enjoying them. Like they're very comfortable. They're heavy duty, but they're not super hot. Like they're not super, and I have zero air in the shop. Like, it's hot in my shop. It just is what it is. So I can't wear shorts like in the shop. Like
no, I can't either.
It's just I love wearing shorts, but I'm a shorts guy. But just all the sawdust and the leg hair and down in the top of the shoes and I don't know. It makes me feel really grody when I'm leaving.
What about? And I know one brand you won't be wearing, but what kind of footwear do you wear?
So right now I'm wearing New Balance. I have a pair of
tennies.
No, they're
Tenny
boots.
runners.
No, they're boots.
Boots.
Yeah, yeah. I did try the Hokas this weekend, and the particular pair that I put on, I texted you and I was like, that is a no go for me. I felt like I had two contact points. It was the outside of my heel and the inside of my whatever that little ball is right behind your big toe.
Yeah.
It felt like there was only 2 points touching the ground. I was like, I couldn't even do a test walk around the store. I turned around and the sales guy looked at me. And this particular store, it's a very small chain, and they treat you like old school shoe.
Oh, yeah.
Like they've all got a shoe horn in their belt. Like
Dang.
Oh, I mean, it's great. Like, I mean, they pull the tongue back. I mean, you slide your shoe in. They shoehorn you into every shoe. They lace it up for you. You know, I mean, they super service. But when I turned around and said, these are terrible, he said, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, god awful. Take them off. I mean, he's like, I've never heard anybody say they don't like these. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I hated them.
Do you remember the model that you had?
Hoka.
I mean, yeah, but
no, I don't. No. They were gray and orange. That's all I know.
Yeah. They were like I said,
they were the only boot that they didn't have. All the other Hokas that they had were Gore-Tex. They had a waterproof.
Oh yeah.
Factor to them, and that's a no-go for me. Yeah. I can't do a waterproof shoe.
No.
My feet. I'll have swamps in my feet if I don't have air circulation.
Yeah.
No.
So I do, and the reason I thought you were going to say they were phased out at Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply used to carry a brand of pants called Blue Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the name of them. They were $15.99 a pair.
Oh, wow.
And I get about 3 pair a year. And you can't kill them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I said, they're khakis. They're just regular khakis. They're not some super material or anything. They're light. They're lightweight. They're breathable. But they're not like really thin. You know, I don't want that. When I put a piece of plywood against my leg or something, you know, you need toting a cabinet. You need a little bit of protection on your legs.
Yeah.
But I keep those in stock. They are very comfortable. And like I said, dude, they're $16 a pair, and I can't wear them out. Like, eventually they'll just get so stained I have to throw them away or whatever. Yeah. But they just last forever.
That's how I was with the fire hose pants for a long time. But then the knees is where I am killing the knees I went to put a pair on yesterday and my toe shot through the knee. I was like, well, all right, that pair's gone. And now Duluth makes another pair that's got it's got the double knees like these Wranglers do, but they got all these pockets all over them. I was like, I
don't need all them pockets, man.
I don't need the hammer loop. I ain't going to use that. I don't need,
last time you saw somebody walking around with a hammer. In the pants.
Well, the girls bought some shorts this weekend that had a hammer loop on them. I was like, what are you going to do with that? Like, they're in fashion. I mean,
I wear tenny runners in the shop.
Yeah.
For every day. I wear khaki pants, long pants, and I wear a white, sleeveless, moisture wicking shirt.
We've seen this white sleeveless shirt.
Yep. That's my shop attire. If I go to a client's house, and I mean, they'll have stains all over a man's shirt because I don't care. It's just me and the guys in here. You know what I mean? If I know there's a client coming over, especially if I go to somebody's house, I'll put on a cat scratch T-shirt, something like that. But I've noticed something, man, and I don't know if it's the same around the world, but picture this. You got a guy coming to give you an estimate.
Yeah.
And you're from where I'm from, so you're going to know this guy.
Okay.
All right. Let's start at the feet. They're either going to be like a light colored tennis shoe or they're going to be really clean boots that have never been on the dirt, right? Leather boots, some kind of Ariat, something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. Then you got blue jeans. Then you have a tucked in, just plaid pattern button up shirt, usually in a red or a pink or a green or a blue.
Mm-hmm. Al Borland shirt.
Yep. You have a gaudy belt. Then you have like the long kind of combed over hair. That the boy needs a haircut, and a pair of coasters around his neck, and a hat.
Uh-huh.
Now picture that dude. right? Yeah. And he comes with his coasters around his neck, with his little clipboard, his button-up shirt, and just ain't never had a piece of dirt on him in his life. You know what I'm saying? And he comes up, and he's like, you don't know what he's talking about. You know, I've seen a lot of those guys here, around here, that are doing estimates, that are putting a roof on, or well, actually they don't do any work. They just ride around in this brand new Chevrolet, brand new truck. They get out, they super clean. Now to me, it looks like I'm about to overpay for whatever service I'm about to get. I'm not hating on the guy.
Yeah.
That's just what it seems like to me. Okay. And so what I do is I'll put on some boots or something. Sometimes I keep my tinny runners on, my khaki pants, and my branded, you know, my company logo T-shirt, and I just show up at the client's house like that.
Yeah.
To me, that feels like, dude, I'm a regular guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to show you how much money I have. Look at my sunglasses. Look at this. Look at that. I'm going to come in, I'm going to go down to earth with you, you know, I'm going to talk to you, we're going to maybe crack a joke or two, you know, and we're going to get through this. And I feel like, you know, and like I said, dress professional or whatever, but to me, my opinion, I would rather have a guy like that show up, you know, and just kind of be real with me.
Yeah.
Instead of coming out and being super standoffish and, well, yes, well, we do offer a plan for $59.99 that, you know, that comes in and we can do this or we can do that or whatever. You know, I don't want them to feel like I'm a regular dude.
Yeah.
You know, and I've heard it before, like people were scared to death of the cabinet guy coming. I had a lady tell me the other day, she said, building this house, I wasn't worried about anybody else. She said, but I was scared to death to meet you.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, you know, cabinets they're so technical. There's all these decisions that have to be made. And I actually got a text after the job was done. And she was like, you were the easiest out of all of them. You came in and you were like, sure. Well, here's what we can do here. Yeah, we can build that. We can make that, you know, whatever. That's not a good idea. Don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know why, but I was a nervous wreck. But when you showed up and you were just normal, she's like, you were a normal dude, you know? And so I think there's a lot to that. You know, you can be kind of car salesman-y.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying, you know, just treat them like they're your best friend, because they're not. They're still a client. You still have to be professional. But let's everybody calm down. Let's everybody just chill out and let's talk about it.
I try, how do I word it? Like I'm in the working class, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't try to be anything outside the working class.
Right. Bingo.
But I also want to be on the side of that where I do look like I don't know how to put this where it doesn't sound bad, but like that I do know how to respect your home.
Mm-hmm.
Like that I do come from something that I'm not going to come in and trash your home, and I'm not going to, you know, that I value your place. Like, I mean, because for me, it doesn't matter what they are. If they're going to do a service for me, right? You can be the lawn guy, right? That's fine. But like my lawn guy wears the same uniform every time I see him, and he owns his own business. But I mean, he's in, you know, like the Dickies pants, you know, shirt tucked in, belt, you know, his equipment always looks, you know, organized and neat on the truck. You know, the truck doesn't ever look, you know, really disarrayed. You know, it might be a little dirtier, you know, one time than next, but it's a lawn trailer. You know, it's a lawn truck. Like, I don't expect it to be spotless, you know, but everything about him gives off the persona that he cares about his stuff and his equipment and his business. So that all relays to me that he's going to care about my lawn, my yard, and my project, mm-hmm. because it's a part of his business. My yard is as important as his truck is, because that's an encompassment of his business. I guess is the best way that I know how to kind of surround this. So I try to give that same look, that once you're in the fold of a client, that you're going to get the same care that I give, to the trailer, to the truck. Don't look inside of my truck, but I mean, the inside of my truck is trashed right now. But I mean, I try to keep it. I try to keep my truck pretty clean. On the outside. And show up. I mean, now I may show up for a consult a little cleaner with a different pair of britches than I'm going to show up for on install day now. Like install day might have a few caulk spots on the britches, but
but they know you by
day
then.
is going to be a new pair. Might be a new pair, but they might not be. I might have just left the shop. I've got to meet the last. I'm trying to take care of the last customer, but I'll tell you that. I'll say, hey, I apologize that I'm a little rough. I'm just trying to make sure that this client is on schedule, and I wanted to make sure that I was on schedule for your consult. I apologize that I didn't have time to change. I got no problem telling you why I look like a little bit of a wreck, but I'm going to make sure that you understand that I'm trying to take care of both of you, and that I am the sacrifice that falls in the middle, and I'm good with that.
Yeah. At the remodel job, she caught me when I was in town picking up supplies in a sleeveless shirt. Stained up sleeveless shirt. Now keep in mind, I don't logo my truck either.
Yeah.
So if I'm ratty and my shirt's tore up and got stain all over it, and I get out and I go get me a hamburger, nobody's going to associate that with cat
you might be on your personal time. You might be on your business time.
That's right. So I was just up getting a couple of things, and a lady calls me. She's like, hey, can you come look at this real quick? And I'm thinking, man, I said, I can, but I'm not dressed to meet, to meet the homeowner.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, that's fine. Just come on over. So I told the homeowner, I said, listen, I didn't know I was coming here today. I'm in my shop clothes, you know. And they're like, man, it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. I said, well, I just want to let you know. I try to make an effort to be clean or something, when I come by. And be clean, be professional, and clean. Yeah, a clean truck, that can do you a lot. But I don't like the guys that try to be overbearing with it, that are just kind of like showing off. I mean, come on, who's got, unless you just bought those boots, how do they not have any scuff marks on them at all? Because you ride in the truck all day.
Do you wear shoe covers?
I have, like if they have flooring, especially hardwood, if I got to go in and touch something up and they got hardwood down, we have shoe covers that we wear.
And see, I guess that's a kind of a different world for you. A lot of times you don't have flooring. You're being in the new construction. Concrete. A lot of times I will show up and I will usually not ask. I'll start to put the shoe cover on. Mm-hmm. And I get you're fine. Don't worry about it. Now, if I know I've been somewhere that there's a possibility, I go, I'm going to put them on. But if I've just been around the shop, and I know that there's really no risk that I've got anything on my feet, like I'll go, okay, if you're sure, and I'll put them in my pocket. But I've probably carried the same pair of shoe covers to 20 consults and never even put them on. They're like, oh, you're fine. But if they let me go ahead and put them on, I'll just go ahead and put them on.
The worst thing is when they just do the stairs.
Yeah. When
they stain and clear coat the stairs, and then the builder's like, all right, no shoes on the stairs. That's it.
Yeah.
And now we're in socks upstairs, toting your shoes up. We try to avoid that. But no, I don't. Yeah, if I go into somebody that's already living there, now we're talking something different. We're shoe covering, we're taking shoes off. And I'll go act like I can't get one of my shoes off. I'm at the door just trying to kick it off until they see me, and they're like, dude, I got my shoes on, come on in. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind taking them off, but if you don't mind me keeping them on, I'd rather keep them on. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not sure what pair of socks I put on this morning. I might have, or I may have. I've had it happen before. I took my shoes off at a client's house, and I had busted through the sock that day. Didn't know it.
Yep.
I was like,
please let me do this job.
Apparently, I've had a little blowout today. I need a new pair of socks. Do you mind if we do this job?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. You gotta kind of look at how the customer's gonna portray.
Care when you go.
But in our neck
have a
of the
clean
woods,
hat. If you're a hat guy, maybe keep a client hat in the truck, and take the shop hat off just on the way. Any little thing. I mean,
I've caught one of my builders because I gave him a hat. And I didn't say anything to him. And then one time I said, man, I don't ever see you with that old cat scratch hat on. I'm just saying. He's like, man, that's my going to town hat. I said, oh, really? He goes, oh, yeah, that's on a different peg there, buddy. That's going to town hat. And I said, okay. Called his tail in a restaurant one night, a nice Japanese sit-down restaurant. He was in there with his extended family.
Yeah.
Had the cat scratch hat on.
Really?
As soon as I walked in the door, he goes, hey! And he's pointing to it, And I was like, well, I guess he's telling the truth. He said, there ain't no dirt getting on this thing, man. Well, it's clean hat.
Speaking of, I heard your wife posted a picture the other day of two youngins wearing some off the rails hats.
Yep. Joseph takes his off to sleep, as does Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Riley's she'll wear a hat like if she's fishing. Like tomorrow she'll have it on when we're metal detecting, but other than that she don't wear one all day long.
So do you need did you give one up to one of the kids? Do you need another one? Because I only sent you 3. So do you need another one?
I gave one to Joseph,
yours?
One to Riley, and then Thomas got the Simplify hat and the off the rails hat.
Yeah, so you need one for you.
I don't need one for me.
Well, you need one for you to hang up at least or something.
Yeah, I can hang it up.
See, I thought Joseph didn't wear a hat. Like, I thought I remembered from the Easter conversation that he didn't wear a hat, so I didn't.
I bought him a Youth Richardson cat scratch hat, and he left it on the floor in the old house one night, and the dog chewed it up. And I felt sorry for him. He felt so bad about that, man. He was like, I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't. I was like, dude, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be mad at you. You know what I'm saying?
So I need to get you another one.
Well, I was going to order a couple of them anyway.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that offline too, because I think we need to do some, and I want to put some on to sale. I think we should order some to sale. But that also segues to my next topic that I had on the discussion list.
All right, let's go. I like that look in your eye. Mm-hmm. You got that look in your eye, man.
I got it. I think that we should collaborate on an e-commerce project. So I think we should figure out a project to do. I'll come down there because I know you don't know how to travel north.
Here we go.
So I'll just come down there for a weekend or something. And we'll bust out, I don't know, 20 cutting boards, some checkerboards, some small, project, but that's got both of our hands on it, that all these fans could get a hold to for a reasonable price. We're not trying to make a ton of money, but just, I think some of our people would appreciate something that we've both had a hand in doing. Get to see each other, hang out for a little bit, do a little shop time together, and throw a little e-commerce at the same time, and do a little branded logo on them, maybe, a little laser.
I just wrote down laser.
Somebody has a laser.
Yeah, and bring me a bunch of crap you want me to laser.
Oh man, I love lasers.
Yeah, we could knock out some stuff. We could do some we could do some coasters. We could do some little cutting boards. We could do, we have to look around and kind of see what all's out there.
I'm not talking about anything big, but, something that we could batch out, do 15, 20 of them, kick it, hang out for a weekend, just something we could do for a weekend,
We should probably do that up there since you got all the table saws.
We can. Hey, if you want something datoed, I'm your man.
You're the Jeff of the table saw world.
Yeah.
Instead of the shapers.
Well, I got 3 of those.
Yeah.
I do have a table saw I'm fixing to post for sale.
The rigid?
Yeah. Tried to blow all the dust out of it yesterday. It had almost as much dust as the air filter did.
Listen, I'm not bringing up the off-air conversation that your wife had with us. I'm not going to bring it up.
Where she chastised the 2 of us?
All I'm saying is I haven't brought up you buying anything. That's all I'm saying.
No, we're talking about selling something now.
That's what I'm saying. See, we're going the opposite way. So you be sure to tell her.
Well, look, after yesterday, so, Little's turning 15 Tuesday. Mm. So she said, Dad, I want to go to the bookstore. And she's like, I want, she threw out this crazy number. I don't remember what it was. To look. I want this number of time to look. And then I want this amount of time to buy whatever I want. To buy as many books as I can. I said, you know what? You're on. You got 20 minutes to look, 5 minutes to grab. That was what I narrowed it down to. Yeah, she got me. So what I did not know, and I was very specific in the rules. No backpacks, no hoodies, no hoods, no big shirts to carry things in, like your sister can't help, like no baskets, no shopping cart, like only what you can carry in your hands, what you can physically carry.
So there wasn't really a price limit.
No, because it's books. It's books. Okay. So like, I was kind of like, whatever, you can't hurt me that bad. It's book. And it's books. So even if it does hurt me that bad, it's, it's books.
It's not a video game.
Right. Well, what I did not know was that the books that she wanted pretty much are all by one author, and they're pretty much all in one little section side by side together. She needed about 60 seconds was all she needed. As a matter of fact, I dropped them off. I went to the paint store that is in the same shopping center as them. I said, your 20 minutes starts now. I went to the paint store, got a paint sample mixed, walked back in. They're like, all right, we're ready to pay. And I was like, what? Like, I missed the 20 minutes. And they're like, oh, we're ready. She had 10
got
books.
Him.
$200 in books.
How many books?
10.
Oh, sorry about that.
That make you pass out? Yeah. She had $200 in books. And I was like, I mean, what do you say? I mean, books. I mean, how do you be upset by that?
Yeah.
Though, I was like, hey, come on, let's go to the register. And her and her sister will both read them. So they will actually get, double usage.
And then you can sell them.
She's kind of weird about books. They're like, they got to be on display. Now, this is going to involve probably me building another shelf.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And a project for Dad, but like, she's kind of weird about them. Like, she wants to display them. She likes to have them for whatever reason. I think she reads them twice, but I mean, of all the things a 15-year-old kid could ask for these days, I was like,
"Oh, shoot, I'll take a book over anything." I was like,
"Books,
man.
But that's an easy present."
Yes.
And then we went to the mall. We had to call a friend to let the dog out because it had been that long. 7 hours later, we were walking out of the mall.
What'd you get? I know you got a hat.
You know what? I did not get a hat. I did not get a hat because I hit the shoe store.
Well, listen, you got to have shoes on your feet, man.
Well, I needed a pair of shoes for summer, right? And my wife has been on me like a tick on a dog about getting... Have you seen like the dress tennis shoes? Like they look like dress shoes on the top, but they got like a tennis shoe sole. So she's like tearing me up to get a pair of those for like jeans and stuff like that. So I got a pair of those. I mean,
and she can't be mad about it.
No, she can't be mad about it. And I mean, but no, we had a really good day, really good family day, just hanging out.
Yeah.
And went to her favorite place to eat, which is Chewy's, which it's the joke of the family because she only likes the cheese dip there. That's why she likes to go there.
It's just
cheese
who is
dip.
this?
Chewy's. It's a Tex-Mex.
Who's the person?
Carson.
Oh, okay.
The little one. Mm-hmm. So we went to dinner and then came home and then, it was everybody passed out from walking the mall for 18 hours.
Yeah.
But got to take her Tuesday to do her permit test. Yeah.
Tommy's going to be right behind her.
Oh,
it's 15 in October.
October?
Yep.
I'm just like, look, if you the key to this is don't tell people that you went to take your test. That way nobody knows if you failed or not.
You're right, yeah. Don't tell them you're going. Tell them you just
keep it quiet, and then you go, hey, look what I got. You don't say anything. I don't think the permit test is that hard. I keep trying to explain to her, you don't have to know how to drive to take this. Like, you just have to know some basic rules. Like, they don't expect you to know how to actually move a vehicle. It's just bookwork. So
then you got like the real laws, and then you got like the street laws.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like she'll learn that when she's driving.
Yeah, she's like, Dad, am I going to be able to drive your truck? And I was like, no, you can't drive my truck. You're 5'1".
Yeah.
I don't have electric seats that go like up. Like, you'll never. I was like, I can't see something. I've hit 2 buggies in the parking lot that people have left in front of my truck because I can't see them. I was like, no, you're not driving. You're not driving my truck.
Riley's scared to death driving my truck, man. She hates driving it.
Yeah. Now Taylor would jump in and drive it like she wouldn't check up on it at all. She'd be like, all right, let's go. I mean, she'll jump and drive at anything. So, I mean, I guess that's a good thing because I know some people's kids who are like, they will only drive their car. Like, you need them to do anything else. I'm driving this car and that car only. They didn't want to drive anything else. But sometimes when you need a designated driver, it's good to have Taylor around. She's like, whatever, I'll drive you. I don't mind.
Well, there was that one little snafu with Riley driving that kind of wrapped up her driving my truck for a little while. I'm not going to get into that.
You still haven't. You still hadn't really told me the story. I kind of have bumped around and heard a little bit, but you're still holding on to that one pretty good. So,
whenever the statute of limitations is over, we'll put it on the podcast, or we're going to have to change a lot of information.
All the names of the innocent. Well, I mean, we already know it involves Riley, so you can't protect her. So, dude, let me tell you about this Facebook post that I read, and I want to know what you think about it.
All right.
I laughed so hard when I saw this, and well, hold on, shoot. I thought I screenshotted it. Oh, boy, I've lost it. Hold on, I got it. I can get to it real quick, because I think somebody else. All right, so this is on a Nashville Woodworkers site, Facebook page. This guy says, I've been woodworking my entire life.
Oh, I like where this is going already.
Listen to this closely. I helped my dad build the rocking chair that my mom used when I was brought home from the hospital.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
He said he's been woodworking his entire life. He said that in the very first line.
Did he like stick an arm out while she was pregnant and hold a nail or something for her?
But I'm curious as to how one would obtain a master's carpenter title. I would love for my grandson, who is 3, to also become one by the time of his high school graduation, should he choose to. Everything I see online says there's no formal certification, but I ran into a nice fella who had a master carpenter on his business card. Any ideas or information?
Yeah, I can tell you how to do that.
So my comment was, I feel like if you were able to make a rocking chair in the womb, that you are a master carpenter, sir.
Yeah, that'll qualify you right there, buddy.
Just put that on your business card. I mean, come on, dude. Like, did you read what you wrote? Did you mean what you wrote? Or what happened? And hey, you can put, there's no business card police.
Nope.
You can put whatever the hell you want to on a business card. Well, this feller had master carpenter on his business card. Hey, put master carpenter certifier on your business card if you'd like. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I can't. And I mean, people are just, I would normally skip, but I just had to, I've been working my entire life, and then follows it up with, I built a rocking chair in the womb.
I built a rocking chair that my dad gave to my mom to take me home from the hospital.
Do you know how many times I read that sentence?
Yeah, you're thinking you're having like some sort of aneurysm or something.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, something. I'm having there's some kind of power flash or like some kind of glimpse in the orbit of the Earth or something. And I read it and I was like, no, that's what he says. That's what he says. And he never like comments to go, oh, my bad. I worded that wrong.
Like people are calling him out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's the truth."
Trust me. One guy commented to me, trying to figure out how a newborn helped build a rocking chair. Like, so nobody's comment is that, hey, Travis, you're a moron. You don't know how to read. That's not what it says. I've read it correctly. He says he built a rocking chair in the womb.
And it's on Facebook, so it's got to be true.
Got to be true. And it's on a business card, so.
Yeah.
Master carpenter he is.
Have I ever showed you Chris's business card?
Lord, no.
All right. Well, here's a bonus round for you before we head out.
All right. Does it have his Facebook Marketplace name on it?
No. No, it does not.
Did you set him up a new account yet?
No.
Oh.
No, he can go change. I told him, I said, you go change your name.
Oh, he'll never figure that out.
Yeah, if you want to do that, you go change your name. I've got to find it now, but I'm telling y'all, it'll be worth it. Let's stall for a couple minutes.
Well, I can stall for a second. I'll tell you what I have going on. I won't ask you since you're trying to look at something, but got the trophy case coming up, got a built-in bench seat coming up, and got some floating shelves. Bigger project was supposed to be, but the client got relocated to California, so we're going to do some white oak shelves to kind of get this little unfinished area finished up before they post the house for sale.
Glad you brought that up.
Get those done. And
I got a question about, by the way, white oak is cheaper than I thought it was nowadays.
Well, you must have thought it was really high then, because it's still high as a giraffe's butt.
I was thinking, last time I checked white oak, it was $7-8 a board foot.
Yeah.
For the lumber. And now it's like mid-3s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And also Rubio monocoat.
Oh, yeah.
What do you know about that? Tell me a little bit about it.
What do you want to know? I mean, what about it?
How do you apply it, and what sheens can you get?
So it pretty much comes in one sheen. It really doesn't have a whole lot of sheen to it. There is a second, I can't think of what they call it right now, but there is a second thing that you can put on top of it that will kind of bring the sheen up a little bit. It's a two-part. You mix your oil and a hardener together.
Oh, it is a two-part?
It is a two-part.
Mm-hmm. What's the pot life on it?
Not very long.
Really? I thought it was a single. I thought it would be a single part.
No, it's a two-part. There's a hardener that goes with it. There's a couple of ways. It depends on how you're wanting to put it on. If it's a flat surface, kind of the best way to do it is just kind of pour it on and use like a scraper, not a scraper, but like a squeegee style. And you just rub it. You just kind of squeegee it across. A little bit goes a long way. It's expensive, but a little bit goes a long way. That's one thing you got to remember. And then you let it set for about 10-15 minutes. Use a white Scotch-Brite pad to kind of buff it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the excess off, and that's pretty much it.
Because Charlie's daughter is getting a white oak island, a great big, huge 9.5 foot white oak island. And she wants the sheen. The picture that I got now of the sheen was very matte.
Yeah.
Very dull. And I said, man, that looks like something that we need to use, Rubio monocoat on.
Yeah.
But I've never used it. I have no idea, how it's
super easy to use, super friendly to use. It's just make sure the surface is clean. Now they sell a product called, it's like their pre-treatment cleaner thing. It's mineral spirits.
Okay.
It's just mineral spirits. Just wipe down the surface, get all the dust off of it, then go to town on it. And the good thing about it really is you can try to put a second coat on it, but if the wood is soaked up, what the wood's going to soak up, that's it. Like you can't. Not gonna.
Do you think you could put it on with a rag?
You can. So a lot of guys for a vertical surface, they put it on with the white Scotch-Brite pad. They just kind of put it in. That white Scotch-Brite kind of works it in and kind of rubs it down. Okay. But yeah, you can put it on with a lint-free rag.
We'll have to. I'm going to do some testing on that. I found the business card.
Okay.
Okay, so.
And it smells delicious too, by the way.
Does it?
I love the way it smells.
We're going to have to look. I'll send you a picture of the island if I think about it. Anyway, here's my brother's, just to give you kind of an idea of how my brother is. This is his business card. On the front, it's got his name and number. And it's hoeing and blowing dirt work. Specializing in thick bushwhacking. No hill too tall, no valley too deep. Hours are can to can't. And then some other notable notes on here. He is also an alligator castrator. He's got used plane sales and pigs for rent.
Pigs for rent.
Beards combed, purveyor of whiskey, and cat trainer is also on his business card. On the back it says, this is a non-profit company. We didn't plan it that way, but it is.
Hey, this is also a non-profit podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, man, I saw that. He sent me, he said, man, you think I can get some business with this? I said, let's see. Hoeing and blowing dirt work. Specializing in thick bushwhacking. No hill too tall, no valley too deep. Hours can to can't. I said, oh, also, alligator castrator, used airplane sales, and pigs for rent.
Wow.
If that ain't my brother, man.
That is NT for sure.
And would give these cards out to people.
Oh.
Now, don't miss that.
Oh, yeah. I would definitely.
He would walk up and like, here, if you need something else, call me,
Because after about 2.5 minutes of conversation with him, they go, yep, that fits.
I bet he does.
Yeah. And definitely, you would definitely remember everything about that business.
Yeah.
From the conversation to the card, there you'd be like, hey, that fella right there, I might not remember his name or the business name, but I remember I'm going to do what it takes to find him. Because,
Yeah, he's a mess, man. He's a mess. All right.
Well, what you got coming up this week? No, I need to know what you got coming up.
Coming up this week is an install.
So I remember what to ask you about.
Yep. So everything. Oh, I will have some information on a kidney-shaped corner blind corner pull-out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know the ones I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Wanting to say it was the Hardware Resources model.
Okay, you're prefab or using a prefab?
Yep, using prefab. So we're going to see how that goes. I talked him out of the little old Turney Lazy Susan. So we'll see. This seems to be a pretty heavy unit. It's all steel, welded steel, so we'll see how that goes. The refrigerator is going to go right beside a non-cased opening, and the builder says, I want the refrigerator dead even with this opening. So on the right, you got a corner. On the left, you got an opening so he can wrap continuous crown around it.
Okay.
So I built in some wiggle room. We may have to do something in the corner. There may be a little bit of a gap or something somewhere. We'll see what happens with all that.
House update. What you got going on?
Oh,
what we got going on there?
Foundation concrete guy is supposed to be here Wednesday.
Nice.
Which is in 3 days. And then the plumber is supposed to be here the next week.
Nice.
And we have to run electrical up, a pipe through the ground where the island's going to be into an exterior wall. In place. Yep, that's the only piece of conduit I got to run before the foundation's poured. So hopefully, I think we're in gear and they're about getting ready to come off the clutch. So we'll see. And the builder seems to think that once we get, it's the plumber, and nothing against the plumber, he's just really busy.
Yeah.
It's taking a little time for him to get to us. So I'm hoping once we get the foundation poured, we can just clock right on along.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good.
And then we got that huge job we're going to be starting on.
Is that the one you kind of showed me
week.
today when we were talking about the software?
No, I didn't show you this one. This one was about 4 of those pages.
Oh, wow.
Biggest job we've ever ran through the shop. Biggest money we've ever ran through the shop. Lot of weird, intricate, non-standard stuff. Took 3 days to draw.
Is this the one with the real ornate doors?
Yep.
Okay.
Raised panel doors on the lowers. Arched raised panels on the top. Hello, 1992.
Right.
We're coming back, buddy. Mm-hmm. Walked in there when I was going in there to do the some double checking on the dimensions because somebody didn't write the number clear.
Yeah. Smooth butter.
Yeah, yeah. How about that butter smooth? We
kind of like chunky butter.
we have the columns in there. I need to send you a picture of them, man. You talk about ornate,
Really,
buddy. Little old bitty tiny pieces of trim running up the columns. They're all cased columns. They're all trimmed out.
This is the
trim guys.
Alder wood, right?
No.
What?
No,
I thought this was the alderwood door.
No, this is for the family that's not from here that run a bunch of hotels.
Okay.
And they are going to have two kitchens. There's a temple room.
Okay.
We have to make the little temple stand. Anyway, very ornate trim work in this house. You don't see that a whole lot around here. So gotcha. I'm guessing that's why she wanted raised panels in the kitchen, arch top doors, So that'll be an interesting job. It's going to be huge. It's going to be probably 4 days to install.
Wow.
So, but we're not behind the ball on it.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're trimming the house now. We're in our groove, man. We're not freaking, we got a lot of work we got to do. We got to stay busy, but we're not 3 weeks behind the ball like we were last year. We could not catch up last year. So, yeah, life is better when you're not stressing about that.
Ain't it?
Oh, and on the builder's house, remember the builder's house that we did?
Yep.
He said, hey,
Frank's house? Frank's house?
Yep, Frank's house. He said, act like there's a wall here. Do your regular, like it's going against a wall. We're going to come back and put a wall. And it was a base and an overhead. I said, okay. So, 2-inch stiles, 1/4-inch overhang, unfinished side, whatever. He calls me the other day. He goes, oh, by the way, something we kind of need to address at my house. I was like, what I do?
Right.
He said, might have been a little miscommunication in the laundry room about that wall that I was adding. I said, oh, what happened? He's like, it stops at the countertop. So now I've got an overhead with an unfinished side. And I said, I thought it went. He said, yeah. I was in there the other day and I looked and he said, I bet you Mitch thought that wall was going on. I said, yeah, I did.
Because you're putting wall.
Yeah, it's going to be a dog shower right there. So I was thinking that the dog shower wall would go all the way up, but apparently it doesn't. So not a big deal. We, that 1/4-inch overhang, we get 1/4-inch ply, we paint it, we take it over there, we fasten it to the outside, and we paint the side of the stile, move on.
Yeah, ready to roll.
So, yep.
Awesome.
A lot of stuff coming down the pipe, man. A lot of stuff.
Well, enjoy metal detecting tomorrow. We'll make sure that we ask about that, see what you found. Hope that you enjoy that. I'm going to go find some beef to throw on the smoker in the morning and let that sit. And we're just going to I got a bunch of yard work to do. Jiminy Cricket.
The yard work you had a guy.
To do. Well, we had all that weird winter stuff come through like December. And like we had one, like we went from like 70 to 10 like overnight, and it zapped so many trees and all. So like they're trying to come back, but like everything's coming back at the base. So all the dead stuff above has got to be cut off, and I can't bring myself to pay somebody to do that kind of stuff. Like
while I'm metal detecting tomorrow and just having a good old time and just really enjoying life, I'm gonna need you to send me a few update pictures of you out there, preferably a lot of sweat.
Lots of sweat, right? I'm sure.
Dirty hands, maybe a little mud on your face, and just about every hour, just send me a picture.
Yeah, okay. I had to paint today, too, so that was, how much I love painting. It's more staining, but I finally got the back patio and the front porch stained. I've only had the stain for about 4 weeks sitting in the garage.
Yeah. Remember that fan that we went through all that rigmarole getting it repaired from the manufacturer, the hood fan? My brother-in-law Joey goes, hey Mitch, ask Christy how that new fan's working out. And I said, okay, Christy, how's that new fan working out? She looks at me and Joey goes, I ain't put it in yet.
Oh,
I said, man, after all that, dude, you ain't put it in yet.
It's the story of my life, man.
I was like, whatever, dude, ain't on me.
Oh, yeah, I understand. I told my wife that I'm sorry it took me so long to get to it. She's like, I was like, it's just when you're in the gig industry, when it's rolling, you got to roll.
You got to roll with it, man.
The shoe guy asked me yesterday, he's like, what kind of hours do you work? I said, I own my own business, so it's start to stop.
Yep.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's just when I can, and when I can't, I can't,
Yeah.
But, hey, I did save myself $35 yesterday because nobody would clean my shop for me, so I had to clean it myself. My kids suck.
It's because you're making it optional, man.
Yeah. Maybe I suck. Maybe I'm just not a good dad. Maybe I'm just not a good parent.
Hey, y'all want to go out to eat tonight? Yeah, Daddy. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. All right, grab a broom. Let's go.
Well, hey, we got to swing by a place real quick on the way. Just got one little stop to make on the way. Why are we going way out here?
Nothing ruined my kids' days faster, man, until I say, and they know it too, because Thursday we get all the trash into the cans and to the road, right, for Friday pickup. Yeah. And I'll ask them, what day is it? And they immediately,
Thursday.
They just slouch. Head goes down. It's Thursday. I said, okay. And they're dragging trash cans up to the front, dumping sawdust, dust everywhere. So,
well, that's how I was, because I got a notification that my dumpster service, which comes on Tuesday, is going to be altered because of the holiday. So I don't know if that means they're going to come earlier than normal, if they're going to come later than normal. It just says altered. So I was like, man, I'm going to make sure everything that I can is in these, because I can fill that dumpster up.
Oh, yeah.
It only comes every 2 weeks. So, I was like, I need it. I need everything I can to be emptied. But, yeah.
I need to look into doing that.
Mine's $85
a month
for every 2 weeks. And it's a 3-yard dumpster. I mean, now I fill it up in 2 weeks, but, I mean, it's right there. I mean, I like being able to just chunk. I mean, all the scraps. They don't ask any questions. Just right in there.
We may look at doing that. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
All right, man. Well, what you got? Anything departing?
We do have, I do have a word for this week.
Oh, we're back on the word. I think we skipped last week.
Yep. So this is another share week. So share it, get it out there. Check out our social medias, by the way.
Please.
Instagram. We do have a TikTok. I think I may start shooting some video. Just kind of getting it on there.
TikTok, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I may can work on that a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, go to the social medias, Facebook, all that, Instagram, all that stuff. Like it, share it, YouTube. Email us. Yep, at offcuts@styleboyz.com.
You got it. You got it. Ding, 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 baby.
You got it first try.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you share it, and if you feel so inclined to text us and let us know that you shared this episode, the word for the episode is just remember after Memorial Day.
Good one.
So yeah, send that to us. Text, email, whatever you want, message, share it. You know the drill. Hit it up. Come back with all 10 fingers.
Yeah.
Find something to do.
Yeah. Get after it. Find a new plan. Find a business plan. I'm actually fixing to go right now and research a business plan for an unnamed project to be announced in the near future.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. Fixing to go downstairs. That's what I'm fixing to do.
I'm fixing to go find me a piece of Spam or something to eat.
Spam ham.
I'm starving. I ain't had supper. You got me out here half the night, and I ain't ate.
Well, I know. I've had you tied up for several hours, not counting the podcast. But I do appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening so much. Thanks for enduring. We're about 30 minutes over, but it is what it is.
They don't care.
No.
They in it to win it, man. They OGs. Susie, I know you in that thing. I know you still in that thing, Susie.
Mom, are you on round 1 or are you on round 2 of listening? I mean, because I just learned that you listened to it twice. Yeah, she's like,
trying to double dip.
Well, she's like, sometimes I kind of miss things because I'm doing things. And she's like, so would it help you if I listened to it on another platform on the second time? I was like, absolutely would. Yeah. So,
and my mom, my mom listens to every one of them. I get a text. So
yeah,
we got supporters out there.
I got my paps. I got Jason B sends me more messages than I know what to do with sometimes, but he's listening and we appreciate it. And he's building some stuff too. Yeah, lots of them going on out there, but we appreciate it.
Well,
all right, my man. We'll tell everybody we said, hey, y'all have a great holiday, short week.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it's probably not a short week for us. That just means I'm going to work Saturday of next week to make up for Monday. Really what happens when you own your own business. But anyway.
Wouldn't have it any other way, man. No. Take care, and we'll see you in a week.
right. Thanks, everybody. Y'all be safe.
See ya.